things. All right, I'm fucking good to go.
Do we want to find a special guest for this, or are we just raw dogging it?
Probably the latter.
Okay.
I looked at chat and I didn't know who would be a great guest or who would be willing to jump in.
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe someone in chat who's super interesting and not toxic. I
I
feel
feel
like the
like
whole thing. Is up.
Sterilize would be good. Out of all people, he grinded a lot and has a lot of opinions, but we can just get started.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. 10-second starter.
Yep.
Every week at the end of every playtest, we look at the feedback channel. We look at what has the most thumbs up. We talk about it. We give our opinion. Yeah, you might not like it because it's more feedback that's against how you feel, or you think we're more competitive, or we're tribes players and we're not looking through the lens of casual players. Some of that's true because we're not. We played this game forever, so we have an opinion. Deal with it. But we're also trying to look at it as nice as we can to think from both sides and why they might be suggesting what they're suggesting and all. So we'll do my best.
Yeah, we also 5 second addendum to that is we also give our own opinions at the end. I think the last 2 times we've done this, we've ended with like a top 5 wish list for updates, tweaks, changes, bugs, whatever we think is the most high priority that needs to be fixed for the next week. We'll also most likely do that again this time, I would say.
Yes. Very scary. I totally forgot to mention that we're doing this, but we also didn't know when we were, so we're going to take our own slight notes. We'll do a very quick at the end. I don't think this will be a longer one because it's been a long day altogether. But yeah. I do have last week's feedback. And so let's start with that, just so we can
that's a good way.
Understand where we did. So our top 5 last week was 1, we want consistent damage for all weapons across all classes. I don't think we've seen any changes on it. I'm pretty sure we have the same, like, it's still different per classes.
It is. However, they specifically did nerf the direct hit damage of things like the heavy bolt launcher. So we didn't necessarily get this specifically exactly how we worded it, but at minimum, they did tune the damage of multiple of Heavy's weapons and the balance of multiple of Heavy's weapons, including the bolt launcher, including the storm slicer, which is the chain gun, which I think,
those are big ones for sure. The 1-kill bolt launcher pissed me off. That one did change. I don't think we had it as a top point, but it should have been. This one was more the Rincewin feedback post that he had.
Yeah.
And he said spin fusers should be 700 damage for all spin fusers, not just light and all. Second one was 3 caps too short. Go back to 5. We got it. We didn't get our bonus custom slider, but that's okay. I think 5 still feels right.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, at 5,
go ahead.
Most games were not capping out in pickups. So,
I mean, at the end, the last 3 that I played, it capped out pretty quick. But
oh wow, really?
I think we can go into the pug conversation if we want to later. It's not really the purpose of this call. Wow, here I am thinking it's like a meeting at work. But anyway, the third one, the more air control, we definitely got that for lights. I think of it for mediums too. So I think I like it. I think this is one that I'm going to highlight for the patch this time. Is like I think this was one of the biggest victories for this patch was the air control in the air, not the strafing on the ground that we were talking about last time.
Yep.
Disc jumps feel weak and impulse falls off, needs to return. I think that's still a problem.
Yep.
Any thoughts there?
Yeah, I mean, again, the chaser perk is like a band-aid on this problem of disc jumps are weak. That allows you to still effectively chase. I mean, you've enjoyed playing a lot of chase, particularly with light armor. If you combine thrust pack and the chaser perk and you get that free disc jump, I mean, you're going really fast. But I mean, I'm still of the camp of we shouldn't even need to have the chaser perk. You should just disc jump should just do more. So I still feel like this is something that would make the game more fun. Yeah,
that might be one of the few that we carry from one week to the next. Yeah, that one I definitely feel that way. Netcode and weaponing and skiing jittering. Patch notes say that they removed or fixed that or attempted to, but I still feel the skiing jittering. Like I think whether it's a graphics card issue or what have you, my frames are still 160 plus, but when I'm skiing at fast speeds, I feel the jittering still. So don't feel great about it. Netcode piece. I didn't really have a strong opinion on it. I'm sure people with higher ping can comment better, but I'm constantly at 90 to 100 ping from California, so I just make do with what I'm given. That's not going to change anytime soon.
Yeah, it felt better to me especially I feel like the first day and the first and second day of the last playtest, it was really really rough. Like it was kind of nauseating. We're just jittering and jittering and jittering. I feel like it's gotten better, but I guess I didn't notice it as much, which probably means it got somewhat better. I don't know. I'm not really sure.
Maybe. Yeah, I didn't really. I don't know. I didn't have a full breadth of what that conversation was. I was just listening and learning. All right, so let's just go through a few ones. Ooh, I see stealth pack capping with JP coming up. We'll start with a lighter note, which is FPS unacceptably low on a good system. I don't know if we need a comment on this one. Like,
yeah, from everything I've heard, from everything I've seen, the game is really CPU dependent. So even if you have like a 4070 or 4080, but like a couple year old CPU, it's gonna be tough. I mean, I stream this game all the time, and I'm between 110 to like 140 FPS most times. Sure, I would like 144, but yeah.
Here I am. I'm sitting. See, I got the 7800 X3D AMD processor, and I read that that's like the greatest like gaming processor given to how much the X3D caches. Again, let's get the techie side, and I sit at like 130 to like 170 frames, and I have a 170 hertz monitor, so I feel pretty good. And I only have a 4070 Ti. I'm nothing too beefy. I'm
on a 3070, but I mean, yeah, there's no point in commenting on this other than yes, please optimize your game more. That would be great for everybody. Thank you.
Yep.
I don't know what else to say.
Stealth capping. I'll read it word for word from JP. It's still.
Oh boy, here we go. Here we go.
Had figured it out. Slap a max speed on it. Make it a toggle that consumes your energy instead of the ability to cool down. Being able to see cappers make them more fun to shoot at. So before we get into solutions, because I have some thoughts on how we could do that. Look, I know I'm not the first one to stealth cap. By the way, I have to say, like, I posted like a last tribal banter, and I got a couple EUs on it saying like, you didn't invent stealth capping. We've been doing it since day one. I'm like, oh, okay, sorry. Like, I didn't like stop having such a big ego APC. It's like, honestly, this wasn't a thing in NA until I did it last week. I think that was true. So I'm ignorant to what the EUs were doing. With that aside, I had to say that. Once that started, it did not go away, and I can understand the frustration. I mean, I'm chasing now for a predominant role, and it just feels so like, I don't know the word I'm looking for here. It's not something you can easily counter, or at least something you can like build against. Like, it is just something that you just hope that you catch the guy coming out of cloak fast enough so you can react and get some shots on him. You can't get him on his way in unless you really camp his route, which is something that people have been doing to counter that. But still, like, you could still get out in back home most of the time. And this game became more of a standoff heavy game than it has a trying to get the flag off the stand. So I don't think there's a single person out there that doesn't think stealth capping shouldn't exist, or that it should exist. But Fish, what are your thoughts? I know you said you refuse to do it yourself.
I'm just stubborn, I guess. But I mean, stealth capping is just unfun to play against as a defender when they go invisible 7-8 seconds away from the stand, and you have to just guess where they're going to be. Sure, there is some counterplay. You can use heavy on the flag stand with mines. You can just count in your head, and you can make it work. You can try and body block, but it's just unfun. And it's unfun for both sides. I think this is one of the very few balance changes that you've seen both cappers and defenders don't like this, because cappers aren't having fun doing it either. So there's a lot of ways that we've suggested and talked about. In fact, like JP said, Tribes Ascend had stealth and had ways that they balanced it so it wasn't super OP for capping. Come on. Prophecy. Like this is a big issue in the competitive scene. I don't know if it's trickled its way into pubs yet. I'm sure there's somebody just capping for free in pubs. This is just not a fun mechanic for people right now.
Yeah. I'm gonna say two things. One, I have fun capping it in it. I do. I'll admit it. But I know it's cheese, right? Just because it's cheese doesn't mean it's not fun. But I'm gonna do it because with that second point that I'm gonna make, or a question almost, is like, why do you think people are stealth capping? Like,
Right.
why is it happening? And I'll let you answer that, and I'll give 2 cents after it.
Uh, I mean, before that, it was blink capping, which people also called as BS and cheese. In my opinion, more counterplay, more fun, more flashy, more skill based. Um, but I think because of projectiles being so fast and so big and it being so easy to hit mid-airs on incoming cappers, it's just your life as a capper is pretty tough. So you got to make do with what you have, the tools that you have, and this happens to be the best tool. I mean, also, we're playing sweaty competitive pickups with that are entirely comprised of tribes veterans that have been playing anywhere between 10 to 25 years of tribes. So it's not a big surprise that they're going to search for the most broken shit and abuse it. That's what
Yeah.
that's what people do when they're sweaty like us. So,
Yep. And
yeah.
like the whole reason why I started and did stealth capping in the first place in a pug, early last playtest was I kept getting destroyed. I couldn't even get to the flag stand to even do a blink cap or a regular cap at 250 plus, whatever. I just kept getting hit, whether it was a chain gun or getting hit from a disc on the oob or getting cut off. So I'm like, I need a way to get to the stand without being detected. Right. And so I do think there's something there where, and I think JP said it in a way too. It's like, I think the problem is that you aren't doing it. If you're not doing it, you're not getting out versus a good defense. So if you don't give stealth capping to a capper, does it get to a position where capping is now just really hard to do, right? Then do we have an opposite effect if we remove stealth capping? Again, I'm not defending it, but I'm trying to think about this holistically so we can understand if this is gone, what comes into place of it. I think blink capping's awesome. I think being able to thrust and have faster speeds and use it right before you cap and all that, like, or getting it for returns and such, like that's cool. But there needs to be something. Maybe it's something around the sensors, right? Like, I think it was Clout that was explaining to me, if you press M, you could see everything. Like, I never really press M, but I started doing it towards the end of today, and I'm like, damn, you really can see everything when the sensor's up. But the jet trails are enough
Yep.
that, like, once you spot someone, or if you have somebody playing midfield that's doing like snipe or chaining you, then it's hurting you. So the only way you can get in without being detected and potentially having a chance to get out is the stealth cap. There's a problem on the other end. I'd be curious if other people have thoughts on that.
Yeah, and I mean the ways to balance, I think, capping and offense again are to, again, I think, make hitting shots harder. The chain gun is perfect accuracy. You can start to hit cappers essentially as soon as they start their route. As a midfielder, you can start hitting the capper with chain gun bullets. That is to do with the map design. There's not enough LOS blockers. The speed and size of projectiles, including your chain gun, you can start hitting from super far away. There's no fog in most maps. Also, it has to do with the fact that the majority of the maps are fairly narrow. So, as a capper, you don't even have the outskirts of the map to use, which you have had in essentially every single other Tribes game, which has had
Yep.
almost every single one of them has had much bigger maps too. Any one of these things could make capping far, far more viable and make it so you don't need to have stealth. Now, I do want to say something that I know is going to ruffle feathers. I see JP in your chat. I've seen this narrative that you can't cap without stealth. Um, Not to toot my own horn, but I'm currently top 10% on the pug leaderboard. I played a shitload of pugs, and I'm basically doing medium with shield pack 24/7. Now, that's also kind of cheesy. In previous Tribes games, it's light armors are the capping class. Like, you don't cap without light as a non-light armor. So you could question whether medium armor with a shield pack should be as strong for capping, but I got out with medium armor and a shield pack all the time. So I don't think stealth is the only way. I'm just gonna say that.
Yeah, I don't think so either. It's definitely a lot harder. And if you're doing double cap and one person is stealth capping, then it kind of negates. It doesn't matter if you're doing it or not. Like there's still someone that's like throwing the defense off and like, where the fuck's this guy? I know he's coming somewhere. And then you could be coming out of nowhere, which is like, well, fuck, I was looking for the stealth guy, So like there's still a symptom, I think, of stealth. Here's the two solutions I had with it. And I've read JP's thing and I'm like, yeah, like stealth capping wasn't a thing in the past because when you go over a certain distance, you become visible and you can't use jets like you can with the phase pack and all in this game. But here's two things I think could be a smaller change that would make a difference. Number one, medium doesn't need phase, period. Why does a medium class have any kind of cloaking whatsoever? It's not necessary. The infiltrator perk can be good for them, so they can come in undetected from the sensor and no turrets shooting at them, and they do 20% more damage to gens. Like that's a way for them to get to the base undetected. Great. I don't understand why a medium class has to go undetected and be invulnerable too. It's really, really weird. So A, remove it. B, number two, the stealth pack is abusable on the light class because you could throw a nitron and get out of it at will. So if that wasn't the case, then I'd find it to be a little bit more skillful to time your stealth perfectly. And you have to come out at the right time in order to grab it without being detected. And you know what? It's kind of like blink capping at that point. Can you do a blink cap that's more flashy and grab it in a way that you just timed it perfectly, right? Otherwise, if you can't, then you're crippling yourself. You're going to be detected a little sooner when you come on stealth, and then you're going to get body blocked or what have you. I know this might be somewhat of a hot take because everyone's like, get rid of stealth capping 100%. And JP's solution is more that. But this is one of my thoughts of like, this is how you can kind of tune it down. And I think the people that are abusing stealth capping more are the people who are playing medium.
I mean, there's a million ways that you could tune this. JP's idea of if you're going over a certain speed, you just unstealth. That's one. Another is maybe it just sucks your energy extremely, extremely quickly. So if you're in stealth, you aren't able to fly up to a flag stand, and maybe you could come up with some really creative, interesting routes that require no jets in your entry, and that's a little bit more interesting. That could be something too. Something I think I just saw somewhere or I just made up, I forget. Maybe when you jet with stealth, you can still see the jets. That would balance it a lot too, and make it so like the way to use stealth is this just like sliding across the ground or whatever. There's so many ways that this could be balanced, and I don't think it needs to be removed. It just needs to be balanced.
Yep. No, I think this is like the number one topic that I think everyone wants to talk about, so I don't mind spending extra time on it. I think there's major levers that we can pull that obviously can just alleviate this. But I think I'm more in the let's tone it down quite a bit because I still think there's still legitimacy. Because this is what I was going to comment on too. I had a lot of fun this week because it was more standoff based than it was throwing my body against a stand and getting demolished on stand and hoping that we get it out. Now, that could be a symptom of get good and have a distract that knows how to do it. But in a world that we're playing in pugs and things are just not balanced all the times, I can't change that. And especially in a pub, I can't change that either. So I like the flag moving around more than it is not. I think someone commented, yeah, well, there's games that weren't 0-0, 0-0 in the last patch and all. I was like, yeah, that's true. It doesn't mean it was always the case. But you got to admit and tell me this patch, we saw way more standoffs, returns, caps than there were 2-1s, 1-1s, just because somebody finally got it off the stand.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that's fun. I'd rather that if I had to pick A or B, I'd rather the flag moving around more than it is defensive heavy on the stand.
I agree. Tribes is more fun when the flag moves straight up.
But in Praj, I was saying this before we got to the feedback session, and what Praj is saying in chat is they'll never get rid of nitrons, and that's basically the world I'm living in. People that didn't play a lot of Tribes Ascend just can't, like, they're relishing in the problem that we had in Tribes Ascend in the beginning, which was I just got used to Tribes Ascend in the nitrons. They'll never remove it from there, and so we just got used to it, right? They carried it over, and so I'm like, oh, this again, right? So I'm kind of like numb to it, and I'm okay with it already. It does create hype moments. It does, like, I remember I called Shaz out last pug, and he's like, "Ooh, nice conk," and I was like, "Yeah, you didn't want to say that, right?" Because it's nice conking is just like, no, conks aren't, it's not skillful, but at the same time, it was very helpful that I did it. But
I think
anyway,
I
like
think I saw.
it's not going anywhere.
I think a lot of people have said that Shad is one of the best chasers right now. I saw him hit a midair Nitron, and that was kind of sick.
Ooh,
That was kind
yeah.
of sick.
See, that's almost like a sticky grenade. Like if you get someone with a sticky grenade and they blow up because of it in midair, that's sick. But anyway, any closing thoughts? Anything else on stealth capping? We can
No,
always. I'm
let's
sure
move
there's gonna
on.
be another. Yeah, there'll be another excuse for us to talk about it.
I mean, the last thing I'll say is this is on my list. This is on my 5 wish
Sure.
list, like for sure.
I'm reluctant. Look, I'm gonna say remove or significantly change stealth / phase capping altogether. Not just for lights or mediums.
Significantly balanced.
Altogether.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's number one. No doubt about it. I think everyone across the board will be happier if something gets done about it, not ignoring it. Ideas for packs or items that could be fun in T3. So this is like kind of a change of pace for a feedback channel where usually it's like, this sucks, or change this, or I wish we had, more impulse or whatever. This is more like, hey, everything aside, here's some other thoughts that we can add to the conversation. So JP, again, thank you for the thread. Grappling hook.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Give me the grappling hook. I want it.
I would love it too. I think there's things that we can learn from Tribe's Vengeance that maybe we change, where maybe if you have the flag, you can't use the grappling hook. But being able to like grab the flag maybe and like, get a nice midfield grab to return it. Or like just the cap routes and the chasing that you could do with it. I'd like to see it in the game. I think it'd be a lot of fun. Maybe you could break the chain itself from the hook, so that way you throw them off their course, right? That would really fuck you.
Yeah, I mean, I probably sound like a broken record if you've listened to a couple of these now, but I think we need to make a fun game. We don't need, and I think JP also, or maybe who else did a post about this, we'll probably get to it at one point. Make necessarily a perfectly balanced game as much as we need to make a game that is super fun to play for as many people as possible. And the grappling hook, I mean, has the potential to be super busted. Obviously, it's going to need to be balanced properly, but it was really fun in Tribe's Vengeance to use, and it's going to create for some crazy moments, which I think this game needs as much of those as possible.
I just turned in the video that's like, what is this, midair, where they have a grappler gun type thing.
Tribe's Vengeance, but yeah.
No, this is Tribe's. This is a Tribe's Vengeance.
Yeah.
This is like midair. Oh, it is Vengeance. Wow. Okay. Did they change? What? Why is it blue?
This is just Binsweez, dude. Binsweez has the craziest skins on everything.
Wow, that was the first one looked like a midair type game, but now it clearly is.
He just modifies the shit out of his games like as much as possible.
Shit.
But yeah, dude, you have to watch Binsweez's freaking Tribe's Vengeance videos. He makes Tribe's Vengeance look so cool. Honestly, look at this. Look at this. It's awesome.
Yeah, I want CCR. That's my next request. I
Canyon
think CCR
Crusades
would play really well.
Yeah.
In Tribes 3, I think it would play really well.
I'm down.
Okay. The other one, Overdrive from Legions. How much of Legions did you play, if at all?
Enough to know what Overdrive is.
All right. So for anyone that doesn't know what Overdrive is, I could show you real quick. It's something that you can activate when you hit a certain speed. I think it was like 88 meters per second or whatever. And what you do is when you activate it, you lose health as you're doing it, but you're able to maintain your momentum and go in different directions you want. So if I were to rewind what happened, and it's fucking sick. Like if you know what's happening, if you know, what they're doing here is they're going into this base's tube. Someone's at the top of the tube and throws them the flag as they're in overdrive, and they're able to exit the other side tube. So hopefully that makes sense. Like here in this screenshot, he's going in this one, he's popping up straight in the air and then going straight down out this other tube and leaving. And
it's just ridiculous.
Being able to maintain it's fucking awesome. And it comes at a cost though. It's predictable, right? It does create a little shockwave that if you're standing in the way, it kind of pushes you out of the way. But again, you take damage when doing it. I think you lose all your energy too. and then when you come out of it, you're gonna lose momentum unless you're going straight onto a hill to continue your momentum. So it definitely makes things a little more wild and more free in FPSZ, but it was a fun mechanic that I'd like to try it. I just don't know if it's gonna work for Tribes 3 personally.
I guess I didn't play enough Legions to love this mechanic. I mean, it's yeah, but like right now, I think we can all say that light armor is still not very strong. You can still cap with it, especially with stealth. But outside of stealth, light armor is not the meta for capping. So yeah, let's give light armor more tools.
If they crippled medium quite a bit, then light armor becomes more viable. I think it's in a situation where why not go medium? I can go close. I could go fast enough and have more health and more utility. I have I have an impact nitron as a medium. I can chase. I got everything I need in my medium kit right now. You need to nerf mediums now.
Yep.
Warp Core. This one was cool. I didn't play a lot of it. This was like after the days I did for Legions, but Warp Core was something where, and correct me if I'm wrong, JP, but you can create a warp where you chasers can go through it too, but you go from one position to another, maintaining your speed and momentum, but you leave a little hole behind you that you can jump into as an enemy. So this is a video example. Okay, so it warped him back. That's right. It warps you back like 2 seconds from where you were. And so if somebody goes through that warp portal, it brings them out where you came out as well. So it's a way that you could do, you can almost like throw off a defense where you're like, oh, faking a grab, but then you warp and then you can actually grab.
That's kind of nutty. Right. I don't remember this at all from Legions.
This was the later days of Legions when things are changing.
Got it. That's cool.
Yeah, a lot more.
I mean, it's kind of like the teleporter a little bit.
You have anything that you would want to see? A buckler?
Oh yeah, buckler was sick. I'm super into the buckler. I mean, yeah, like this is a super random tangent, but when they added dangerous crossing and it just worked, like the terrain just worked. I mean, we can debate the balance of the map, especially with that narrow flag stand, but the terrain just worked. And I'm just like, and on one hand, it's like, no, we should have original maps. We should have new maps. Prophecy should innovate and create new stuff. But then I'm also like, look at something like Smash Bros. Ultimate that has every character and like 50% of the maps and arenas from every previous Smash game put into us, or Mario Kart 8 that has like all of the levels from every Mario Kart game, and it's super sick. So like, give us the old maps, give us the old weapons. Like, does anyone remember the I forget what it was called? It was like the plasma. It was like the replacement for the plasma gun in Tribes Vengeance. Instead of I would like plasma as well in this game, but it was like this. It shot a big like fiery burst that would explode midair, and you could send it in the way of like incoming cappers, and it was like a way to deal not a lot, but at least a little bit of damage if you knew a capper's route. I don't know. Maybe that's not the best example, but I'd love to see a buckler. I'd love to see the grappler. Give us.
I want to see down jet, and maybe that's something that only lights get, or it's a pack or something. Or just give it to everybody. I don't really like the idea of giving it to everybody personally. But I don't know. Down jet, I find myself in this game and never in Tribes Ascend. Never in the Tribes Ascend did I feel this way for whatever reason. But this one, I just feel like maybe because I just feel so floaty, and like Legions was more floaty, or like I had a lot more air control, that now I just find myself touching shift so I can just jet down.
Yeah.
All right. We can move from this one. Make heavies fat again. By Swiss Milk. And I know he's listening, watching, or was. I'm not reading a wall of text, but if I would, if he wrote this well enough in the beginning, I can probably get a good idea. Heavy OP, the health pool and energy pool and nuggets were nerfed. This was more concise write-up of a better way to address the issues that people felt. What was OP about heavies? Swiss, if you're here, if you can give me the TLDR. I don't want to take the time on this. Like, I don't want to bore people with me reading. Investment, offense, because I'm still trying to figure out, like, are you like nerf them more, make them heavier, like in the sense that they should have more damage or more health, they should be slower. Decrease rate of energy recharge, not energy itself. This allows for good height mobility to get to the stand, but removes the agility of the offense. Okay, so I think I understand just by that last sentence. So right now, heavies do feel like they have a lot of mobility, like left, right, up, down, forward momentum, and all that. And he's not saying don't make me heavy in the sense that I can't get up to my base. Just make me not as agile, I think is what I'm reading.
Yep.
Sounds
yeah,
about right to
I mean,
me.
I think the general gist of it is let heavies be a beast with a lot of HP. They can dole out lots of damage. They have good weapons, but make them more immobile, make them fat again.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah,
how
okay.
heavies kind of have been in previous Tribes games. However, you could also ski like a motherfucker with heavy armor in like Tribes
Yep.
1. I mean, in Tribes 1, you know, the most famous kind of like hoe map is Rain Dance, where you just ski out of your base, do a single disc jump, and you can sail over to the enemy base in like what, 15 seconds, 12 seconds.
Yep.
However, I mean, it was much more dependent on the terrain. Like, you couldn't just go fast no matter what. Like, you needed to have like the right little terrain hooks. I don't really know how heavies feel in Tribes 2, or I don't really remember how they felt in Ascend. But you know, heavies have always been able to get going fast ish, at least
Yeah.
in the Tribes games that I remember the best.
Well, they had the disc had a lot of impulse, and then you had a shield pack that you can use to
Yeah.
like still have full health and then have enough speed and then not use so much energy, and you use the impulse to get to the other side. I was gonna say something like, well, yeah, well, if you slow down heavies too much, people aren't gonna want to play, and now you slowed the game down, and now casual people won't have fun. But then I immediately told myself no, because people loved the fucking heavy back in the other tribes
Yeah.
before. Like that was like a default position that people enjoyed. So I didn't want to say that, giving you my train of thought. I do think it is more like don't make them as mobile. And it's the same thing I was saying about medium, where it's like there's not much difference between light and medium. I just have more health and more utility. That I just make medium feel heavier, let heavies feel heavier.
Yeah.
I think the game just feels too aligned across all three classes that it's just
Yeah.
like, why would you play light?
Yeah, I know. Especially when you're watching Dangerous Crossing, you ski into that first bowl with heavy armor, and you're just instantly going super, super fast. So yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I'm not trying to say light. T1 heavies had the same mobility that they have now. I guess what I am trying to say is there's always been a good way to get moving with heavy. In T1, it required disc jumping once or twice. And again, we're going back to disc jumping. Disc jumping should have more impulse. Please give us that.
Yep. I think that's a big one in my eyes. And I think the risk that you take of hitting yourself, or if you have a shield pack and you want to use your disc, fine. Like give the heavy. Ooh, I might say something that I might not agree with, but I'll say it. Give heavy a shield pack. I don't like that in the wrong hands, so I'm not gonna say that one. But yeah, I think just less mobility.
I will say to the point of this post, regardless of how you balance heavies, it is undeniable that heavy armor went from like we should always have 4 on our team no matter what to do we need a heavy armor anymore? From last patch to this patch in the pro pugs. In the past, it was let's send 2 or 3 hoes and at least 1 hoff, maybe 2 hoffs.
That's true.
And now it's like maybe you have a hoff, but maybe
everyone's
not.
playing medium now.
Everyone's playing medium now. Yeah.
First downvote post. 6 thumbs up though. Sniper rifle needs a little buff. There's a reason no one uses it.
After playing against Jagel, I'm gonna say no.
I haven't played against Jagel with it.
Canuck was killing it with the sniper rifle.
Canuck, yep. And in fact, there was a part where I'm just like, it was me and Jick capping, and I'm always saying, hey, let's start with double cap. We'll see the reality of if it's effective or not. And then when Jick was just getting out, and only thing that was stopping him for the most part was getting sniped and getting fucked halfway through. I was like, all right, I'll go on sniper duty, just like what I did in Tribes Ascend with a tailspin, right? So it's effective, and I don't think it's useless. I don't think it needs more of a buff because you know what's going to happen. It's the same thing I'm talking about with the stealth capping in a way. Once you take away something like that, or you buff something like that, you change the game in the way it's like, holy shit, nerf it. Like you immediately turn it on its head, and now we're not having a good time. So I don't think it needs a buff. I like that the game's not sniper heavy. I like that sniper can be effective in the right hands, and people just need to play with it more. But I don't want the BXT back, and I don't want it to be so abusive that now everyone's carrying it, and a medium now has it.
Yeah, we got Canuck in the chat who doesn't want his sniper rifle to be nerfed. I think it's relatively balanced. I mean,
you deserve it.
Yeah, it doesn't do a ton of damage. It isn't the easiest to hit, but if anything, I feel like it could become a problem as people get better. But
Yep.
I don't think if anything, it's just maybe it needs a very minor nerf. But I think it's pretty balanced right now.
Yep. I truly think, and I was theory crafting with Blitz a little bit on the side as we were watching UFC last night. Was I don't want to say too much, but we're so short-sighted on like these play tests that we have 24, 48 hours to play. And we think we figured it out, right? Like, yeah, we have metas that develop, and that typically happens. But I don't think everyone's trying to change the meta or figure out answers against the grain. And that's one, you don't have teams that you can like practice things on, right? That's a fact. Two, you don't have a lot of time to figure it out. But I think what you're saying with the sniper rifle is absolutely true, and one of those symptoms where it's like just because people aren't using it enough or it doesn't feel effective enough doesn't mean it can't be. It's just A, not being practiced enough, B, it's not in the right hands, or C, hasn't found a way to finally make it work. But seeing someone like Canuck do it well is like, yeah, props to you. You're defining a meta.
Yeah, he was the first person I saw really using sniper rifle to great effect in pugs. So shout outs.
Console players, I don't think we need to talk about it too much, but I think I don't know. I guess he's asking questions about can you confirm that the gameplay is being tuned for console audience? The VGS wheel is obviously the console focused. What a disappointment.
It's so broken right now.
The disappointment of the patch outside of the bugs. But with that aside, yeah, I could see that there's different things that people could say, like, yeah, this is more catered to the console player base, but I also think we need to, build this game towards the console player base to have more people playing it and potentially make it successful.
I mean, let's be honest, what this thread is really saying, what Shad is really trying to say is this game being dumbed down? Like, it's not really about console or not console. It's just, is this game being dumbed down too much? Which is the persistent conversation we have had pretty much in every playtest, but especially in the last 3 playtests since they buffed projectile speed so much. I think this is actually still on my list too, is projectile speed and hitboxes, I think still need to be tuned a bit. It still feels just too easy to hit mid-airs for me. I think it's not rewarding, and it makes offense, and in my opinion, it's yet another reason why capping and offense is more... this game, I just think, is more defense-sided than offense-sided because of that, in my opinion. But for me, this is still in my top 5 of things I'd like to see tuned for the next patch.
I'm going to put that on other right now because I think there's other 4 that I would put above that if I had to stick to 5. But if I don't have a 5th, then that can slip in there for a combined feedback.
Okay.
Air brake, veteran tribes 1 player here. Sometimes I find myself overshooting with the current state of momentum, and air brake would be a neat add. Make skiing a bit easier for newcomers and add a new dynamic. Something like just using the S button would slow you down in the air. I feel like this was in the previous games and maybe this one too, but it doesn't feel very strong. I haven't had this problem. In fact, skiing and jetting is very mobile, like from the air control and how forgiving it is for not having crater damage, or if you don't hit a hill perfectly, you don't get the maximum speed. Like, no, the game is very easy to ski in, so I never found myself like overshooting something. There was always something for me to hit. Maybe this is just me being used to the physics that we have, and it's I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
necessarily agree with this one.
I think we've both gotten used to the physics, and they've slowly made it a lot more forgiving for carving and changing your momentum in the past two patches, both in the ground and in the air. It's still less than midair, maybe even less than Tribes One. Um, can't speak to the other Tribes games as much, but I think it's in a. I think I'm at the point where I'm okay with the amount of lateral jet ability to change your lateral momentum with jetting at this point. I mean, could it still be a little bit more than it is now? I think so, but it feels
Sure.
acceptable at this point.
Sure. Yeah. It's just not going on my top 5 or other list. It's like, yeah, I'll play with it. I'll try it. Swiss Milk says, yeah, maybe the grappler is
Yeah,
something that people would enjoy and use over an air brake, which sure.
actually, 100%. If you go back and play Tribes Vengeance, I played a couple of pubs recently. Well, not that recently, but like a month or two ago, I played a couple of pubs just to go check it out. And you actually changing your lateral momentum in the air totally sucks ass in that game unless you have a grappler. It's like almost critical to have a grappler. I don't think you cap in that game without a grappler. You need it.
Higher grab does help with this, and I think that's something
Mm-hmm.
that I haven't seen yet in this feedback channel. I haven't
No,
scoured this whole thing, but
I want to talk
uh,
about it though. Yeah.
yeah, I do too. Like, and if we've come across it, great. But let's take that as the next topic is heavy grab. Sounds like you got something good to talk about.
Oh, I don't have a lot other than the game still feels pretty floaty to me. And Hausja, uh, who's a European player helping out with the draft tournament, cool guy. He was like PMing me and saying, "You got to try a 1.1 or 1.2 gravity in the next pug and see how it feels." And I wasn't. Us sweaty pug players are really hard to convince to do anything different than the status quo.
Mm-hmm.
We should have tried it, I think. But if you go in and you make a custom server and you set gravity 1 to 1.2, I mean, I'll be honest, I only messed around with it for 5 minutes, but it feels a lot more like Tribes to me. Um, and I think, of course, it needs to be balanced. It needs to you need to work around it, and like there were some weird things like you have to jet up a little bit more when you're coming out of spawn. Like if you just come right out of spawn, you just plop onto the ground, and it's kind of weird. There's some weirdness because it's not built for that, but I think it's positive for capping because it allows you to use the terrain more effectively. So I don't know. I would like to see 1.1 or 1.2 times gravity. I'd like to test that in some pugs to see how we all feel about it. But yeah, I mean the game still feels really floaty to me. So
Yeah, a lobby would be for it. Yeah, pugs. The way I see it is like people aren't gonna like stop their grind or like we have finite time that pugs are actually running. So I don't want to
yeah.
waste my time playing bomb runner 1.2s and testing all this. It's like instead I think it's like in the morning you just turn on and be like, guys, here's a custom lobby, jump in. Um, but yeah, I'd be down to try it. I just know getting 14 people to agree to it is gonna be hard as you put. But it does feel floaty. That's a fact. Like I don't hate it. I'll be honest. Like I think it does help maybe for the newer player to feel like, yay, I'm flying and I'm free versus like feeling very like forced to go in a certain direction and drop in a certain spot. Like I think the lighter gravity makes it more noob friendly, and we know that that's what they're actively trying to do with this game. And we actively want this game to be acceptable for the wider audience. But this might be one of those hills that the hardcore Tribes fan say like, no, don't fuck with our physics like that, right? Like that's what we aren't willing to give up. Versus like bomb run, yeah, go ahead. Do I play bomb run? Like that's the casual mode that you guys are calling. Sure, you can have it, or disengage and engage ski. You know, like sure, put that on my screen. I don't care. I'd like to try it myself, but I'm personally not in the thread of like we need to lower the gravity too much. I want to try it though. I think
Yeah.
now's the time to try these things.
I mean, I'm having fun with the physics in this game. I don't think it's bad or terrible but I think I mean, imagine what would happen with 1.2 in a pug. First of all, light becomes stronger because light has more jets
All right.
than everyone else. Medium becomes weaker because it has less jets. Like literally make heavy fat again just instantly happens because having higher gravity because these and then light gets an indirect buff. So I don't know.
I think you and I are somewhat aligned on that, like 95% aligned. I'm having fun. You're having fun. We want to try it. It will probably change the game for the better in some ways, for us especially. So let's give it a go. I'm just, yeah, I'm trying to think like, why does it feel? Why are they going in this direction? And I think the obvious answer is to make it more forgivable when you're learning how to jet.
But if you have higher gravity but also more jets, which they've now given lights, then I don't know.
Maybe, yeah, no, maybe the more jets they gave us allows us to be less floaty.
Yeah.
If that's true, JP, that in a QA thread somewhere claiming that Erez said in a voice that grappling was in the works. But here's the thing, like Erez
Really?
said a lot of things are in the works, right? Like from
Yeah.
the very beginning when we were talking. So like, maybe there is one. Maybe it was a conversation. Like they had a whole list of weapons, and yeah, eventually it will come up to that down the pipe. Or maybe there is one. We don't know, but I would take a rumor and like a voice commitment very lightly. Man, I can't wait to get to this dangerous crossing is garbage thread. I've been, that's the one, the stealth capping and dangerous crossing were the two that I wanted to talk about here. Binswees took a picture of a map design. I don't want to talk map design. Greth, I know you probably want to divorce me as a friend by saying that, but I'm not interested to talk on this topic, especially when it's speculating outside of the game itself. But dangerous crossing, I'll talk maps.
I remember seeing Binswees post this before they released the update, but then they released the update and we have Dangerous Crossing, which has proper tribes terrain for sure.
Yeah. I think there's just so much that you can speculate from an outside game and looking at terrains like that. It's better hands than Greth, right? I don't think it's a topic that shouldn't be talked about. It's not one that I think.
Yeah, just go watch Greth's videos, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I'm just basically saying, Greth, it's in your hands. God, can I start, please?
Yeah, go.
Yes. Okay.
You have my permission. Not that you needed it, but
man, I got to get to the top of this thread. I'm sorry, but I'm actually not sorry. I love Dangerous Crossing. It's so much fun. I thoroughly enjoy the gameplay that it brought. Here's what I said in a stream or some other moment, I forget when, but every map needs to have its own identity. And Dangerous Crossing clearly has its own identity. And then like going as far as saying capping's not fun for Dangerous Crossing, that's all I played was capping, and I loved it. I had fun capping on that map. And then it wasn't just like the routes and the skiing, and they just saying like the terrain feels good. There's a couple thoughts I'll get into, but one of them being like the terrain way back in the back left corner, depending on what side you're on, is like completely flat and weird. Like it feels like they just left it alone and didn't do anything with it. So maybe something that needs to get done there. But I like the fog that's in it. I like how big and wide it is. I like the quick gameplay that it brings. And if you grab it, you can get it home quickly, but that also means you can get an E quickly. And it's just nonstop action. It's something that I think anyone who jumps into a Tribes game for the first time and sees this action will be like, this is fucking great. Whereas if you throw them on a 7v7 kata or even 12v12 dry dock or something, it's a little slower paced and it's less chaotic. And like what we were saying, bring on the chaos. And that's what Dangerous Crossing brings. I enjoyed capping on it. I've enjoyed the terrain on it. I enjoyed the cluster play that it brought. God damn it, there was another one I wanted to bring up too, and I can't remember. But I don't see
how big it was, how big it is. It's by far wide. The widest map in the entire game, and it's not even close. You can go way out there, unlike any other map that you in this game.
It feels so good. Oh, here's what it was. And Hot Rod pointed out, because every time I played DX, I think the first 4 times, I was always on the same side of the map. And then on the 5th time, I was on the other side of the map. The map is not symmetrical.
No.
And it's not even close. One side is doo-doo compared to the other one. Especially when it becomes like your spawn points and like, yeah, sure, I could find routes, but some routes are going to take longer because of how doo-doo my spawn points are versus the other side. It's a lot easier, right? Like that's the main issue with Dangerous Crossing is it's not symmetrical, and therefore it gives an advantage to one side of the map over the other.
Yep. Yeah, that's something to discuss. I mean, there's so much to discuss about this map. I will take the other side of your argument. I like Dangerous Crossing because it is fast, it is chaos. I mean, it's the fastest Dangerous Crossing has ever been in any Tribes game. I mean, you just get blasting down that hill. Oh my god. It is. I really enjoy the cluster play that we have on Dangerous Crossing. I did find find it very frustrating to cap though. I was getting nitroned, like no matter how coordinated we tried to be on offense, and maybe this is because the spawn points are closer to the base or something like that. But no matter
Maybe.
how well we seem to coordinate on offense, there was always seemingly someone there to nitron me coming through the flag stand. There was always a heavy on flag like that just body blocked me. I was watching Jick's stream, and I swear I watched him run 20 routes in a row and get body blocked or killed by mines every single time. So I think the flag stand I feel is just tough on that map. Nitrons are too good in general. Like nitrons are a big problem. If it wasn't for nitrons, I would feel like differently about Dangerous Crossing.
Yeah,
But yeah,
it
I
might
mean,
be a mechanical issue. Yeah.
I love the train. I love how fast it is. I love, and at a certain point, actually, like the first couple pugs, it was just like so frustrating, just getting nitroned every time. But then we actually kind of changed how we were thinking about it, and it became more, let's run a coordinated offense, clear the flag stand, and just cluster this shit home. Like, I think I was watching Jake, and he was just running light stealth cap routes, and it was not working for him at all. But what seemed to work better for me in pickups was let's coordinate our offense, and like I'm just gonna stop my route and duel this dude. If like if he sees me and he's gonna kill me coming in or he's gonna nitron me, I know he's going to. Why even go for a route? Just stop and try to duel him and pull him off the flag stand, and maybe somebody else will have a chance for a route. So I think
Exactly.
the way we figured out how to play the map evolved, but I
Yep.
still think that flag stand. I mean, it's not Dangerous Crossing without that very particular base and very particular flag stand. But in this game with nitrons, it just felt really, really frustrating.
Yep. I hear the frustrations. I can see it. I didn't have the same experiences, but maybe it's because my teams weren't in the same way. The teams played it differently. It's always going to be different, and it's going to evolve, like you said, over time. Um,
Jiggle says bad O also is like why you just get nitron every time. I don't know.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to kind of get into. It's like it's not hard to.
Yo, thanks for the follow, Donler.
It's better to say it this way. It's easy to frag defense on that map. So easy. That if you have the right offense, like fragging, you don't have the person nitroning. I know for a fact, and I actually never chased on Dangerous Crossing. I always capped. But I know for a fact that if you're trying to like float around your base and time the nitron, if you're able to do that every single time, then yeah, the offense isn't doing their job enough. Now the spawn points are close and they're able to get to the flag stand quickly enough, but you have a 5-second respawn. That's enough of a window for a flag capper to come in. And then let's say you have two cappers. One comes in, gets nitroned, bring the next one in. And if that doesn't work, cluster it. And like you said, you can get down that hill fast. All right, grab it then. If two cappers came in and nothing happened, then you as offense can grab it, bring it down. There's so many ways to move the flag on that map. That's legit. Why don't we just do it? Like I don't know. I see a lot of people in this thread, which is why it's also going to get a thumbs down from me. Saying like, I enjoyed this map. I didn't mind capping it. People have their takes, and it's more like, oh, the nitrons are the things that's broken, not the map itself. But I imagine like these names that I don't recognize are newer players. Maybe, sorry if you're not. But they're saying, I thoroughly enjoyed this game. This was the best addition to this map, or to this patch. And I agree. I think this map really brought something in the Tribes 3 that we haven't had yet, and I want to see more of it.
Totally. And
now,
go ahead.
Did you see the so
Yes.
Scott, he's a designer at Prophecy who was a designer for Tribes Ascend. Like, if you guys remember, actually, one thing I love that Scott did, I got to work with him for a bit. Do you guys remember that Tribes Ascend trailer where the capper is slow-mo running for the flag, and just as he's about to grab it, he's flying in for a grab, and just as he does, a llama grabs it, and then the capper misses it. If someone can link that in my chat, I'd love that. But it was such a beautifully done like montage of like Tribes Ascend in a way that I bring that up because Scott made it. And Scott, he loves Tribes. He's a big reason why Tribes fell into the hands of Hi-Rez, right? There's so many people at Hi-Rez at the time that loves Tribes, and there's a lot of the same people at Prophecy doing the same thing. They fucking love this game, and which is why I think they're able to do some great things with it. But I mentioned that because Scott brought this picture up, which they're listening to feedback, right? I really hope Scott, just like me, is like looking at this and like, look, I'm listening to the audience. I don't agree with it, but let me feed them some ideas and thoughts. And he brings up this picture of 4 different flag bases. Hot Rod, I'm with you. Look at fucking number 2. DeSolo, is this what you want? Is number 2 what you want?
I mean, it totally flips immediately because it's going to be so much easier to clear the Hoff, clear the mines. This would change a lot.
Yeah,
it's not dangerous crossing anymore though.
Exactly.
It would
man.
feel weird to call it dangerous crossing if you had a base like that though. I mean, I don't know how much I care about that, but I care a little bit.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring up this video for anyone that hasn't seen this. It's so good, and I'm gonna skip through a majority of it. Well, maybe if it loads at all, that'd be great. But yeah, I think changing the flag stand or the base, if you're gonna change it, do what you were saying, Fish, is like fine, make it a little wider laterally or horizontally or what have you, but don't change the base in its current edition.
So you don't want to see it changed?
I don't. I think it plays very well. Like you can make it a little more wide so that way it's harder than Nitron or something. I don't know, but I thoroughly enjoyed Dangerous Crossing. I mean, give me 3 weeks with the same map and maybe I'll be like, okay, guys, I see ways that we could change it. Yeah. So if you guys could see, like, so fucking funny, right? The flag capper was coming in and little llama snags it, and this guy's like, no.
Hot Rod doesn't think the DX stand needs to be changed. We have what do you have right now? We got 30 people in APC's chat. Like, what do you think? Does the stand need to be changed or no?
Oh, how do I do a poll? That would be the way to do it. Chat settings. Fuck, somebody was doing it for me when tribal banter in the past.
Wider / taller, JP says. I agree.
I see. I'm okay with that. If you're gonna do anything, change it a little bit wider or taller, but don't do any of these options that is being suggested for Dangerous Crossing. God damn it! Like, don't call it Dangerous Crossing then.
Yeah.
I can't do poll. Somebody probably knows how to do it better than I can.
My take was just make it wider and taller. I'm with JP on this one.
Yeah, and it sounds like a lot of people are saying keep it or maybe small changes. Okay. I know a couple of people that just don't like the map in its current state, but it might be one of those. Again, the whole thing that I was saying with maps having its own identity. Like, I can't wait until we have enough maps and we're playing scrims or you're doing ranked queues or what have you. And when you get pushed into a map or you have a map pick ban phase, you can then cater to your strengths and be like, we're a good cluster team. You know, this map, and that map's more for us. And then as the enemy, you're like, oh, this map is good for them. Let's ban that one and all that. Like, there's so much, you can work with and have an upper edge on some maps versus the others, versus it being the same thing every time. You have a flag stand with back to fronts, and there's a little obstacle on the stand that you have to avoid. Yeah, there's different hills to ski and such and different weather, but this is a map that's...
So what you're saying is we need Scarabrea back.
Oh, I want Minotaur. I like Minotaur. I thought that was a fun map. I want to give it a go. I would love to try an indoor map. I don't know if it works for Tribes 3 in particular, but I know I enjoyed 1 or 2 indoor maps in Tribes 2, and it played way differently than any other map that I enjoyed. I keep saying I want Fane. I think I called it Fiend before, but Fane is such a good map. All right. Probably exhausting this topic too much. Trying to click on this video that JP put of
T1
Dangerous Crossing. Yeah.
What is this channel? T1 routes. 3 views. I'm gonna subscribe to this channel.
Why is my internet doo-doo? Yeah. Beacon stop. Yeah, those are wide.
Oh, I miss beacon stops. It's a topic for another day.
Let's keep scrolling. Personal feedback. Sorry, I'm gonna skip that one because that just seems like it could be anything. Map shouldn't work when the sensor and generators are down. Yes, Clout. I think you and I were having this conversation together, and I said we should throw this in the feedback channel. Yes. He was the one telling me that you could see everything on the M, even if when the sensor's up, obviously. But when the sensor's down, that you could still see things. I feel like the sensor to give it more power and make it more clear, because I think a lot of people here listening probably still doesn't understand what um, probably doesn't understand the full picture of like what sensors do and don't do when the generators are up or down. But I would love to see it when you press M when the sensor's up, or sorry, when the sensor's down, that it's like distorted, right? Like M is just completely useless, and you can tell it's distorted. Therefore, I need to go repair the generator, or I need to go repair the sensor. So that's where this topic came from. It's crazy though. If you ever pressed M, especially when the sensor's up, it's so broken. It shouldn't be like that, man.
I maybe should have done that more. I don't think I ever pressed M in my entire 50 hours in the game so far.
I
I
didn't
probably
until
should
Clout
have.
said it this morning. Yeah.
Uh,
Dealing damage is so easy, there's almost no counterplay.
yeah, I mean, we kind of already covered this topic, I feel.
Okay.
Projectile hit boxes and speed is just really, really fast with everything. Chain guns, discs, everything.
All right, then let's go to new game mode. Bomb run seems like a keeper to me. Fish, you probably have more positive things to say about it than I do.
I mean, I only played like maybe 4 or 5 pubs on Bomb Run. It's pretty wonky, but when we were theory crafting a new game type for this game, we basically had the exact same concept as Bomb Run, just with 1 bomb instead of 4 to focus the team. So basically like single flag CTF or like kind of almost Team Rabbit 2, or even Ball from Tribes Vengeance was pretty much exactly this, but a single ball that you have to take and dunk into the enemy's goal was basically our idea. I'm glad that they're trying new things. I'd like to see this iterated on. My personal take on Bomb Run is first of all, I'd like to be able to throw the bomb into the goal from longer distances. I think that would be cool. I don't think you should need to have to carry it in. I also think that the goal should be floating in the air or not so easy to defend. I think you can just stack a bunch of defenders that can body block and get mid-airs, and with how easy mid-airs are, it's probably too easy to play defense. But I mean, I don't want to write this game mode off. Like everyone's like, oh, I don't like it instantly, but I think we should have tried a pug on it. I don't know.
Yeah, and this is something I want to look at later into this feedback session, which we'll wrap up, I don't know, in like 30 minutes or so. But Erez commented on this one, and he said it's designed as a casual mode, and especially for new players. Well, guess what? We aren't either of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we could try to put our lens on from a casual eye, and like it's really hard for me. Even like I'm just sitting there in between pugs, and I join a bomb run, and I'm like, all right, let's give this one a proper shot. Most of them just ended up being 10-0. I hope everyone's having fun because I'm not. There's too many bombs going on actively at a time. Like there should be just 2 or 3 at most. Yes, you should be able to throw it. I don't know. It just doesn't feel gratifying when I do score. I don't know. There's a lot to be desired, in my opinion. But I know I'm not the target audience, and so I'm not going to comment too much. If everybody else like, look at this, we have 58 up votes, which you don't see more than 50 that often. That people are saying this is a keeper. So I hope people enjoyed it. I hope that's something where people say this is what I want to play when I play Tribes. So that way we have people playing Tribes, you know. But the game type that I think would really go well for everybody is a game like Hunters. I thought on this one more. And I think like a TDM that has an objective, like dropping a flag when you die, and then if you had 5 flags, you drop 6, the 5 plus your own. And then there's a Nexus, but a Nexus that moves every 60 seconds. And therefore you can't just like camp a Nexus, or you got to rush to the Nexus before it expires. And so it feels like a TDM. Maybe it's like Team Hunters. You could do that, and maybe there's a team play there. That would be fun. But I feel like that's probably something that I think I would personally enjoy playing with my friends, but also probably the casual folks. But maybe that's also get off my lawn vibes, as you put it, Flush.
One thing I'll say about Bomb Run is the bomb has way better physics and well, I shouldn't say better because you can still chuck the bomb maybe way, 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 way too far. But the bomb has way more weight to it than the flag. And Erez was actually in my stream chat when I first was streaming as soon as this patch launched, and I said, "Wow, the bomb physics feel so much more weighty and like, in my opinion, like more better than the flag physics." And he said, "Oh yeah, like He basically insinuated it's just a physics number coefficient that they can just adjust really really easily. And I think
Yeah,
he
that makes
also
sense.
insinuated that they plan to adjust it, which I'm also just like, every week we're getting like 20 changes. We've been asking, we've been saying that the flag physics are way too floaty and unpredictable for a really long time. Like, if it's as easy as tweaking a gravity number, like, can we please just do
Yeah.
that, please?
Can we add that as a top 5?
I mean, I think it's worthy of a top 5.
Yeah, flag and nugget physics need more gravity, and I think that's exactly what you just said. Fire. It took the words right out of my mouth, because yeah, I was gonna go down the path of one nugs, in addition to the flag, but two, like the thing that I'm finding issues with the flag is not only like I love that it can bounce around on the ground, and if I see someone coming in for a swoop, I could shoot it and it puts it out of the way. Like that wasn't the case the first few playtests, so I'm glad we have this. But the problem is I get tossed around in the mix of it too. So when you get hit by a disc, there's not much fall off, but there's a lot of impulse, and so I get tossed around along with the flag. Now it's super random on who's going to get the flag, versus like I want to be able to not take so much impulse so I can get the flag return. It's a fucking nut house when people are shooting that flag. Everything's bouncing around. Punting. How do you think punting is?
I I really really love punting in midair, because I mean, it's not that easy to do. The flag doesn't have a hitbox itself, so the way that you punt in midair is toss the flag on the ground and then shoot behind it, which is way harder to do than just shooting a giant hitbox flag that like sails in front of you with no gravity. I think it's a little bit too easy and a little bit too strong punting right now. But in general, if you had to say, like, would you rather have punting or no punting? I'd rather have punting, because it's another
Same.
way that we can have skill expression, another way that we can have team play. So I think it just needs to be balanced.
Yep. And I think that just giving it more gravity is going to help that, right? Like you shouldn't be able to punt, 300 meters ahead of you, but you should be able to, in desperation, whether it's trying to get the flag across the map, or I'm uh or I'm just sitting there like, and I need a pass and I can punt it to my friend who's coming out of spawn. Like, yeah, I think the gravity is a big player to that.
And this is unrelated to this, but Jagel in chat right now says flag pickup is also extremely inconsistent feeling. Sometimes you grab it from 15 feet, sometimes 2. And then Fire saying, I wish they would explain this. I think returners have crazy reach.
Yes,
I agree.
that's what I wanted to say.
And it feels really inconsistent. Like sometimes I swear I return the flag from like 6 meters away. And like
It's
sometimes I
ridiculous.
don't. So
Yep.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. You see, like I'm like, what perk am I wearing that makes me do this? But then I'm like, no, I've been using the same perk this whole time. So yes, it's inconsistent. I wonder if it's just like one side of the flag is wider than the other. I see it all the time when like, and I think Jaggle, you're one of them, where I'm just like, you were clearly not even close to the flag and you got the return. And then I was even the guy that returned it in front of everybody. I'm like, I did not deserve to return that. That was bullshit. Like, I will admit that from my perspective. So yeah, I think that one, oof, like I'm gonna put that as an other for now. We can maybe make it a top 5, but I know that one was like, it is weird.
Yeah, it's super weird.
Uh,
I don't think I saw any posts about the new flag tossing mechanic where you can just instantly transfer it. I think we still need to come up with I think we still need to come up with the right name, because I just kept saying, I'm going to teleport it to you. I'm going to teleport it to you.
right.
I'm going to beam it to you. I don't know what the name, I don't know what we call this, but I think we should, I didn't see a post about this, but I think we should discuss it here. Because
Sure.
Savage Tiger in my chat says, I'm not a fan of the flag tossing magnet like feature. I could have it seeing something like that in console, but I don't like it in the game.
Yeah, maybe it is one of those console features.
What do you think about this mechanic?
Oh, so
Auto
when I
pass.
read, I was still working when the game came out, or when the patch notes came out, and everybody's loading up, but I couldn't do it. I still had 2 hours plus of work, but I got to read the patch notes. And when I read the patch notes, I saw that one, and I immediately ran to Blitz's DM, and I'm like, man, I hate that you left the game because you and I used to always theory craft on these patch
Yeah.
notes, but I need to hear your take on this.
Yeah.
And he's like, what the fuck is that? Immediately like triggering us because like we worked hard for these passes, right? Now you're just giving it to people. So that was my initial reaction. However, I don't know if I hate it. I don't personally want it in there because I want to be able to I want to feel rewarded for doing it. But I see why it exists in the game, and it does help the team play. Makes it easier for the player. It could stay. I'm fine with it. I hate it. Trust me, it pains me to say it, but it's not one that I think needs to go.
It pains me to say it as well. I don't despise it. I don't like it either. I think if it, yeah, as Fire said, if the range was reduced by a lot and you had to be really, really close to the person you're passing it to, or transferring it to, or auto passing, or whatever the hell we're going to end up calling this if they keep it in the game, I think it would feel a little bit better. The reason I don't hate it is because it could make for some absolutely insane plays, but ultimately in midair, I think, which out of all Tribes games has the best flag passing in my opinion, most responsive, the most predictable, the strongest in a lot of ways. It flag tossing is just happens 100 times in a game. I mean, you can go back and watch old Tribes One frag videos, or midair videos as we used to call them, and any flag pass at all was like, oh my god, they've passed the flag, this is crazy. Obviously we got better at Tribes One over time, and like it became more routine in Tribes One as well, but in midair you are passing the flag constantly and you don't need to have this auto transfer. So I mean, I guess if I have to lean one direction or the other, I'd lean towards taking it out of the game and just making flag passing better to whatever extent possible. But I also don't hate it because I think it could come up with I think you could come up with some pretty cool plays.
Yeah, the flag physics are the bigger focal point for us here, right?
Yeah.
And until that it's in a better spot where we could say you don't need it, the game kind of needs it right now. It doesn't mean it's impossible, but flag passing is a lot harder in this game and not as viable. The way you feel about midair is how I feel about Tribes Ascend. I practiced a lot, got used to it, to the point that the very first play that Blitz and I did in NASL on land was a flag pass play. We were just so coordinated and so good at it. And it became more of a thing that people would punt and pick up and pass, and you see, the pass it, jump into the strike type thing. So flag play was very dominant in Tribes Ascend as well. I just think the flag physics were better there, which allowed us to do that, versus what we have here isn't as in the same spot. But as Hot Rod is saying it, is like, if there's a long list of making this game noob friendly, like, I don't think it's that. I don't know. I would take a different approach.
Watch the clip I just put in your chat, because it makes me look good because it's a dope pass.
Yeah, see, that's cool. And like, even if was that this playtest?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that was like an actual pass.
No. This is a transfer.
Was it?
Yeah. It's a transfer. Like, that could have just been done by me throwing it, but it was also kind of fun in the moment.
Yeah, I think you could have just done the pass, because like that's how I did a lot of my passes in Tribes Ascend too. Was like, if you're just close enough, you could just catch it. Like, it's not that hard. Like, you just have to come close to me. I did it. I did exactly what you did there with Zato today. I was like, I llamaed it and I regret it. Can you please take this from me? He's like, oh, I don't know if I can do it. I was like, just come to me, dude. And he came to me and I just tossed it and like auto transferred into his hands, and it worked, but then he died. Let me see. Okay, yeah, you did get the pass thing on. See, I think the distance that I'm seeing here in this video is too far. I do think it needs to be closer. Yeah. Being closer is something I will say needs to be done, but I don't think it needs to be removed. That's where I'll stop there. Fire? Oh, god damn it, Fire. Okay, you made a TLDR. Thank you. Make mediums the kings of outdoor 1v1 combat and nerf heavies. Make mediums the best 1v1 class. Light versus heavy matchup should be closer. Take the portal pack from heavy and give it to medium. Ooh, that's a hot take. Give heavies the phase pack in return. Okay.
I feel like Fire made this post early on in this playtest before everyone realized that like heavy is really not that strong anymore.
Sure.
I mean, I don't know, but I feel like this is already the case. Like medium is already the king of 1v1 combat at the
Yeah,
moment.
Fire is saying he feels differently. In fact, I would recommend either editing in that at the top saying like I feel differently, but this is how I felt early on or something, or make a new post.
Yeah.
It got a lot of traction. Even got a Diamond Sword react. I'll give you that Diamond Sword react too.
Fire says now if he made a post it would be light needs a buff, which I completely agree with.
Yep, that's what we've been saying a couple times.
Delete the post. Destroy
Scrolling
it.
down. Oh, I
Burn
smell
it with
my.
fire.
I'm making pot roast. I could smell it from upstairs right now.
Uh-oh.
Cannot
I'm
wait.
getting hungry.
Nice, cold, rainy night in California. Those nights do exist twice a year, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Reduce the visible distance of jet trails, and that's from Taddy, which he's been kicking ass in pugs. Um, what are your thoughts? Like, it's because we went through the stealth capping and how it's like, yeah, if you're stealth capping, you should see a jet then.
Yeah. I agree that the visible distance of jet trails is too strong. You can see that red jet trail across the entire map. If the map design was just
Yep.
better and there was more line of sight blockers,
Yep.
it wouldn't be as much of an issue. Like for instance, let's think of Stonehenge. Classic tribes map. It's been in every tribes game. There's a huge line of sight blocker in the hills, but also the damn Stonehenge that's in the middle of the map. You can't see people spawning. And I mean, in T1, there was so much fog anyway that you couldn't see base to base. In this game, on Wave Mist, as an example, you can spot people as soon as they spawn. And you could do that even without the jet trail, but it makes it even easier with the jet trail. So
Yeah.
I generally agree. I mean, yeah, I think I just agree. Yeah.
I don't know why I had to think about it so much, but something just hit me like a sack of bricks. It's like, yeah, obviously, like we need to not have the jet trails be the thing that you could see across the map when the map is already too small and we're getting spotted. And then goes back to the conversation. Why did I start stealthing in the first place? Is because I just kept getting spotted everywhere I go. So how can I come in undetected? Stealth. That's the only thing. But if you're going to give me a way to come in undetected by having the sensors down, not having these jet trails that you can see across the map and spot people, then I feel like I have more of a chance because, oh shit, he's actually 5 out. You know, like you have to react a lot more versus, oh yeah, he's 15 out. He's on the right. There's another one on the left and 20. Like, yeah, it starts to become a lot more, favor of the defense. So yeah, reduce it. Agreed. Maybe jet trails is something tied to the sensor too. I don't know. Wider maps though, 100%. I think
wider
Dangerous
maps,
Crossing
please.
taught us that that's what we want more than anything else.
I really want wider maps.
Dude, I scrolled down and I saw Tazon Day, and I was like, I would love to see what he has to say. And I scrolled down more, and he said, "Bring back Hunter's game mode." Bless your
Oh,
heart,
hell yeah.
Tazon Day. That's exactly what I'm saying. Okay, so I have a lot of thoughts here, real quick. I'm going to rattle off. One, Tazon Day. If you don't know who he is, Google Chocolate Rain. You then know who he is, right? You've heard this. You know who he is. He's a hardcore gamer. He was really hard in the paint with the LA Valiant in the Overwatch League. He was every single stream. He was in it cheering for them, regardless of how bad they were. He loves esports. He loves good games.
He loves tribes.
He's a hardcore tribes player from day one. It is fucking awesome. He is a treasure, and we need to bless him for being here. So hearing his thoughts is actually, something I'm curious in. He's talking just about time trials and being able to do it when he's waiting for a multiplayer queue, which maybe that says something about the queue and how it needs to pop faster. But him playing time trials is something that he enjoys. Cool. But then I thought, what if I hit him up this week and asked him to cast the draft this weekend?
Please.
Dude, he would love to. I bet he would want
I think
to.
he would be stoked.
It's like, dude, sorry, I can't pay you, right? And I don't think he would be that kind of guy. I don't know him, but I feel like based off his passion and his claim to fame is his voice, like he would be perfect for this, dude. So I'm gonna reach out to him and see if he's interested. And if we can get it, it would be awesome.
Hell yeah.
All right, that's all. I just had to rattle all those things off about Tay because bless him.
Truth.
Anything else to discuss?
Look
at these people with green names now because they are team captains
in the draft.
So maybe a little quick segue for everybody on the draft tournament. You're here, you haven't signed up, and you want to play in North America. You want to play in Europe too? You can. You can play in both. Rivalsrumble.com. You get a briefer of what the tournament entails. It's a draft. You don't need a team. You don't need friends. You just sign up. You're solo. We have captains who are available. Thank you for linking. We have captains who have been selected. We had a meeting this morning. They know who have signed up so far. They're going to see who signs up all the way until the 25th. They're going to pick their teams live either Friday on North America or Saturday for Europe. And then there's a tournament. It will take maximum 4 hours of your time, maybe 5 if we see a lot of issues or teams taking forever to finish their matches. But it's a 1-day tournament per region for 2 to 4 hours of your time. 80% of teams will only need 2 hours because you'll play in like a Swiss round robin type of thing. Any new tournament info? All right. I could say as much as I can. One, the draft timing will be 5 p.m. Pacific on Friday for North America, and it will be streamed on my channel. So you can watch the teams get picked, whether you're a captain or you're a player. You can tune in. You'll be involved if you're a captain. Europe will take place at, and I'm sorry, you're going to have to do the conversion yourself, but it will take place, let me just go to the, I can't because I'm sharing my screen. It's 10 or 11 a.m. Pacific on Saturday. I think it's 10 a.m. Pacific, which is 1 p.m. Eastern, which is 7 p.m. Central European time on Saturday. So those are the drafts. North America will be 12v12. So we have up to 20 captains for North America. Europe with a lot less signups will be 7v7, and we have 8 captains, I believe, for that. Yes, there is no spectate yet. I asked for a few updates this evening, and when they're back in the office tomorrow, Prophecy that is, hopefully I can get more to understand, are we tracking towards a spectate? If so, awesome. If not, not awesome. But we'll make it work one way or another, and I highly, highly suggest for anyone who is competing to stream their point of view. Get viewers, make content. I will cast over it too. That's how I'll be able to do it. I could jump from your stream to another stream throughout the entire day. So try to get as much coverage as possible. What else? What other details can we share? Well, if you guys have any questions, go ahead and ask in chat. But we're coming down to the wire of locking down the rules to make it as comfortable as possible. I know Thursday scared the living shit out of everyone, including myself, where I even tilted on stream and said, we can't have a draft tournament next week. Not in this game state. There's no way in hell. But Prophecy delivered within 24 hours a hot fix, which then allowed us to have a smooth enough, not perfect, but a smooth enough gameplay weekend that I feel a lot better, and the draft is still on. If we see a lot of bugs on Thursday, assuming a playtest comes out on Thursday like usual, let's flag them, send them, especially the major ones, over to Prophecy in hopes that they can give us another hot fix on Friday to make us feel the same way that we felt this weekend. I don't have a list of captains, but if you guys want to do the homework, you can go to the Tribes 3 official Discord, and you can see anyone with a green name. They have a team captain tag assigned to them, such as Altamore. He is a captain.
I'm captaining for NA as well. I'll say that.
And then you're potentially playing in EU or maybe just casting.
I don't know. Probably just casting EU. But yeah, I know we already said this, but I just want to reiterate for clarity's sake, you can sign up to both tournaments. If you have not signed up, if you've signed up to one and want to sign up for the other, you can do that. You just need a different Gmail account to do that for reasons. 7v7 is going to be the Europe game. And the reason that Europe is going to be 7v7 versus NA, which will be 12v12, essentially just comes down to the fact that there was a lot less signups for Europe. So I think I'm just giving my own opinion. I'm helping with the draft. I have not touched rules. I have not touched formats at all. But if you do want to play 7v7, then you should definitely sign up for Europe, especially. So anyway.
Yep. What else? We have measures to help with smurfing that we discussed. We have ways that, look, there was a lot of things that we had to have like a coming to Jesus moment where there's going to be bugs. There's going to be crashes. There's going to be issues. And we need everybody to keep their heads up and not like say, fuck this, fuck that. This is terrible. Like work with us as we work with you to make this happen. People aren't going to show up. That's a fact. So how do we find appropriate subs? We discussed all that. We had a really, really good conversation that I think we're in a good enough spot to say like we're in the best possible spot we can be given the unknowns of what the playtest can bring. There's a lot of case by case scenarios that we can discuss in theory craft and how we resolve them. What a waste of time that would be for us because there's going to be things that we can't forecast or pretend to know. And then we'll just have to react based on the facts. Fire says, tell how to remove themselves if they can't sign up. Yeah. So, well, if they can't show up, not sign up. So if you can't show up, it would be very, very helpful to us to go to the sign up form that you filled in. So if you're logged in with your account, your Gmail account that you signed up with, you can edit your form. You can actually remove your entry there. So if you can't make it because real life's happened or you just don't think it's a good time for a tournament and I don't know why we're doing this in the first place, that's fine. Just don't play. I don't want to push you guys to do it. Let's just have fun. That the core thing here is everyone to have fun in a casual setting, which is what a draft tournament is.
Truth.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, there's a prize pool, and I think that's one thing that we keep saying to ourselves, like, yeah, if we did it differently, we probably shouldn't have had a prize pool attached to it. But there is, and for what it's worth, it's not that big. 4.5K for teams of 12 in North America. You know, like,
And
how
it's
much
not
is one
it's not
person
winner
gonna get?
takes all either, so it goes to first and
So
second.
yeah, so like you're not gonna make a lot of money anyway. Like it's not about the money, I hope. Europe, yeah, I guess you get a bit bigger chunk of change. But yeah.
I'll also say I hope we have a spectator mode for next week. We don't know if we will, which is sad because I would love to do spec and cast. But this is all the more opportunity for individuals to stream because there's going to be a lot of interest to see each team. So highly, highly recommend that each team try and have, if you can, try and have like one person at least who can stream the game. This is not a rule, but I think it would be very beneficial for all of us if we have many, many POVs streaming from the tournament. Just highly recommend it.
And if we get awesome like shots throughout the POVs, what's his name? Blair has stepped up to the plate and said, I'd be willing to make some content if possible. Like, I'm not going to hold him to anything, but we know he makes awesome content. And if we have awesome content to give him, he could turn this into top 5 plays or a recap or this or that, which would be fucking awesome. And like, we're trying to build something here, guys. Like, part of it is building something. Majority of it is just to like, let's celebrate community fun, like have a community event and by having fun. Pugs is the way we're doing that today. If we have ranked play in the future, that will be the way we do it. Casual players have signed up and they're going to have fun. But if we have some fun here and we take things are going to fail, I guarantee it this coming weekend, but we adjust and we say, hey, maybe we should do this differently. Maybe we should close signups earlier. Maybe we should have a check-in period then to reduce the amount of no-shows. Like all these things we're going to learn from and we'll do better next time. And I think, and I hope everybody wants more of these types of events in the future. Maybe when the game's in a better state, sure, but there's no guarantee when and if the game will ever be in a better state. But we can have fun while doing so with what we have. So let's take learnings that we have from it and grow from it. Okay, that's draft tournament.
Yep, short and sweet. Not really, but
yeah,
you get the gist.
Not exactly.
You get the gist.
Here's another captain here. Squinternator. Do you see any topics that we haven't gone over or have a lot of thumbs up that we should cover?
What else?
Skybox ceiling should be raised.
Oh, yeah, that was mine.
Yeah, I'm putting that as a top 5.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually super frustrating playing light armor now because light armor got 20% more jet, but that just means you're going to hit your head if you actually use it. So, I mean, I know we talked about this in the last playtest review, and you're like, I know why they have a skybox. They don't want people to go too high, and they don't want it too hard to chase. But like, what goes up must come down. I don't think the skybox needs to exist. I don't think it actually makes the game any more fun for anybody. I think it only limits creativity. It's very frustrating. It can totally ruin your route. If you can be on a sick ass route and just bump your head and then, everything gets messed up. So.
Yep. I also don't know, like, I want to see give me some more visual that I'm approaching the skybox. Don't let me slam my head against it.
Jick said a dev commented saying it was going to get raised. So apparently it's getting raised.
Jick said that too, evidently. So, That would be one of our top 5 that gets adjusted. But as of today, I need it adjusted for the same reasons you said, Fish. And then someone in chat, Plain Insane, said, I hope Chaser perk is fixed by the tournament at least. And God bless you, because I totally forgot, but that is my number one thing. I can't stand it. And maybe they just changed it. Well, if they changed it, it's inconsistent. I never know when my Chaser perk has procced, where I could take a disc jump without taking damage and getting the impulse I deserve. More than half the time, I go nowhere from my non-existent impulse that I get from discs, plus take 50% damage. And now guess what? As a Chaser, I'm dead in the water. So, like, yeah, maybe like respawning and being able to use the Chaser perk right off the bat is something, but I don't think I necessarily agree with you, Cheesecake. But it's just the inconsistency. Just let me know how the perk should be used and what it is 100% built to do. What's its intention, and then make it consistent. And then from there, I'll let you know if I like it or not. But right now, it is just completely something I can't rely on.
Yeah, super frustrating, and a new bug in this patch. It just didn't exist before.
Oh, it's so frustrating. I'm putting that on the top 4. I'll remove it because I said I want to put yours as a other for now, but
I think it's a fair top 4. Honestly, it kind of, if you're chasing, it sucks. It really sucks.
It blows. I don't know. It makes the chasing role fun for me. So maybe I'm maybe I'm the minority. And yeah, make it more visible, like you said, Jaggle. In Tribes Ascend, you hummed a noise and you glue red, like you had this like very clear red aroma around you, or
aura
shine.
Is that what you're going for?
Aura. Thank you. Yeah, it was very clear when it was ready and you could use it. Okay, those are off the top of the head ones. Agreed with you got a thumbs up for that one. What else we got?
I also did another post. I wouldn't say this is top 5 since I don't care that much about base asset or as much about base assets, but the fact that I didn't time it, but it feels like it takes a full minute to repair a turret. It's like bizarre. It should take a quarter that amount of time. I mean, look at like any other Tribes game. Repairing a turret takes what, 10 seconds at most?
Yep.
So, I mean, right now, there's literally no reason at all to ever consider repairing any of your assets because you're going to take one, with a 15-minute match, you're taking 1/15 of the entire match. You have no player because they're there repairing. And then on the other side, it takes 5 seconds with the Gladiator to kill it again. So,
yeah, I remember, someone grabbed and they're out and like there's no chasing or anything. I was like, you know what? I'll take this time to repair this turret. At least I'll do something good. It took forever. And then by the time I got the, 25%, someone just disked me and just brought it back down again. Like it's completely useless. It's just like repairing a teammate too. Like repairing a teammate just takes freaking forever. I don't care if they change that. Like, I don't know if I want people to be able to repair each other. It's kind of cute that you can, but it's not something that needs to happen. I do wonder though, or worry that if you do allow for base repair to be too fast, that then base access become just way too utilized in gameplay, that then we go back to what we said from playtest number 1, which is like these turrets are unnecessary, get rid of them. Fuck turrets shooting at me all the time. But maybe that's when the generator comes into play, because I don't think we had a generator at the first couple playtests. But yes, I agree. Yeah, repairing just in general just takes fucking forever.
Yep.
Another Tazon day. Look at him go.
That guy's got passion.
Love it. There's the postponed tournament thread, and this was when we were in the thick of it. Yep.
Yeah.
But we were in a much better spot than when we were talking about this the morning of January 19th.
Indeed.
I'm ready to wind things down. I'm sure there's some other good ones here that, or maybe it's just like if we go too far, like things are like, oh, okay, actually it wasn't as bad as I thought because I got to play it a little bit more, which is fine. Like give feedback on things as you play it, but like you, Fire, if you have a different opinion, just adjust it or change the title, because like even Tazon Day came back. We all got to be more like Tay, where he said updated in his, or never mind in his title. It's like, oh, okay, now I don't really have to worry about his thing anymore because he updated it. Oh, you deleted it. Damn. All
It's
those
gone.
words gone to
Rest in
waste.
peace.
Jeez, dude.
So
That was
many
dramatic.
words.
I didn't even get to say goodbye.
Oh my goodness, we got Erez in the chat.
Oh, we can ask questions if we want. Holy cow.
What is up, Erez? Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, what is it over there? Close to 10 o'clock on a Sunday night. You gotta get to bed and get ready for the next playtest. Erez, what are the chances of us having spectate for next week?
Hard hitting questions. Let's go.
Or if you want to come in voice chat, we're happy to take you. What else you got? What are some good questions? I remember when Erez first was talking to us, he goes, we're like, go ahead, I'll give you guys 3 questions to ask. We were silent for 5 minutes. People are like, I don't know what to say. And then one person says something completely absurd. Chances of spectator probably low, but I don't hear a no yet. So again, Erez, I'm sure you got my message. I hope you did. I just said the minimal viable product is just give me 1 or 2 slots to do free cam, and it has the UI elements. That's it. I don't need any bells and whistles. Just give me a way to fly around. I know it's not as easy as just saying, okay, done, snap the fingers, but I just want to make sure you know that we don't need everything.
So let's let's pull up our list of top 5 things. I guess my number 1 question for you, Erez, is have you been following the discussion around the stealth pack capping and phase pack capping? Are you guys monitoring this? Did you watch any streams of the pugs where this was extremely dominant, and chances that this might be addressed? Because I think that's the number 1 complaint that people have, at least in the pickup community, in the competitive community.
Yeah, we'll give him time to catch up with the stream and answer. I just want to ask questions like that are like beyond this playtest too, though.
Yeah. True.
Okay, we got a platform of opportunity. That's something we can change. Okay, happy to give you more context on that if you caught it at all, Erez. But stealth capping in at least the competitive side of things is very broken. One, I think medium and phase, like medium doesn't need a phase perk. They don't need to go invincible. Period. It's been breaking everything for us. In lights, they can cancel being in cloak using a nitron, but every other way of canceling it doesn't exist, right? So I don't know if it's intended, but it allows cappers to come in undetected very easily and then out very easily. I think I just did fire. What do I want to ask? My heart is going towards like the future of Tribes 3 and like.
Yeah, I mean that's a more. I mean, if we have Erez, we don't need to bug them about like balance as much as I mean, we do want to bug you about balance. Sorry, Erez, it's just how we are. But I think you're probably right. There's way more interesting questions that we can ask.
Yeah, like I'm trying to think of something around like when the game goes live and all the success that we want to see. Like this one might be a little too deep, but like what success are you trying to see in these playtests to feel like we're ready to go live or early access? And then start marketing this game to a wider audience. Like, do you have a vision on where you want to go? And frankly, like, is there things that we as a community can help, or are we doing the right things to help you get in that direction? Like, that's kind of where I'm at right now on my train of thought. But I think maybe I'm going too deep. I'll let you decide if that's too much of a question to answer through text and at this forum right now. Which then I want to go into maybe things like game modes or something.
Yeah, I mean, I'm as a marketing person, I'm also wondering at what point should we start marketing this game? Because I mean, obviously we're in playtest mode. Playtest is not usually when you do the big marketing. Maybe an open beta is when you do the marketing or full launch. But when do we get influencers involved? When do we have a real like esports tournament, etc.? I think that's an interesting question.
You remember Mendo, right, Fish?
Yeah, of course.
Like he hit me up and he's like, dude, you're playing Tribes. I'd love to play with you, right? Like I got it downloaded. Yeah. Let's play. And so I'm like, yeah, sure, let's play. If you want to play, let's play. I DM'd him. I don't think he had time to play this weekend actually, but I'm also like, I don't know if like I want to go so hard in the paint and talking to my friends who have reach to play the game in its current state now. Like, let's wait until the game's in the spot that we want the game to be talked about more in a wider audience. So that way, when people do come, they stay. Which then is your answer right there. Is like when we get good retention. Can I ask then, like, Are you seeing good numbers today from like playtest 3 weeks ago to where we are today? Like, are you seeing sustainability or growth, or do you find that that things are slipping? Because I would hate to see that that's the case, and then this game loses a support. Like, we want this game to succeed so bad. Maybe sometimes it doesn't sound like we do, but it's only because we get frustrated on some things that we find broken. Um,
Yeah, I've got a couple friends on deck as well, like the niche FPS crowd, like Siegel, for instance. He's interested in trying the game, but I was like, "Hey, Siegel, you want to play Tribes with me sometime?" And he's like, "Yeah, once it's out," which I think is actually
yep,
right. I don't think I
yep,
actually want Siegel to play the game until it's ready.
yep. Okay, you say it's okay right now, but need more. So I'm curious if Bomb Run will hit it. I know I'm not the target audience, and I didn't say the most positive things about Bomb Run, but I'm definitely more on the I want my CTF or I'm sweatier. I hope, and like what we saw Erez in the forums, it's probably somewhere closer to the top, that a lot of people did like it. It wasn't what you would probably expect, which is like usually more negative things. People came in positively saying Bomb Run was a lot of fun. This is great. So I hope that that is a positive indicator for you guys. Um,
Okay. Well, JP also asks, do we have more maps coming down the line? Any plans pushing larger number of prototype maps for us to test? I think that's a great question, and I will also add my own twist to that, which is the dangerous crossing port. The terrain feels really, really, really good. Are there plans to port other legacy tribes maps? And maybe also, what about the philosophy of Dangerous Crossing being a larger map with more space on the sides for cappers? Are we going to see more of that as well? As a capper, I'm a little bit biased, but I think most people might agree that having wider maps is going to be more fun, more allow for more creativity for capping as well. There are always more maps coming. A couple more like old tribes maps next. Nice.
Yeah, and like the conversation I keep trying to preach with the maps Erez is like each map has its own story to tell, its own meta, its own dynamic, and like Dangerous Crossing so much different than the other three that are out there. I'd love to see now one that's completely wide open, like a CCR, but closer, right? Like I think this game plays pretty well with big wide maps for captors to do their thing, but also close enough that you can cluster and not so far that you have to like really if a flag carrier's out, there's no chance of chasing or getting a cap or e-grab. Dangerous Crossing has been so much fun to me, and I feel like a lot of other people agree that it just brings a whole new fun dynamic to Tribes 3 that's more fast than it is methodical. I'd love Surreal. Surreal would be fun.
I'm just stoked about Dangerous Crossing because the terrain from previous Tribes games actually worked so well in this game without all that much iteration, right? I mean, Rain Dance is basically the D Dust of Tribes. I think even just Rain Dance being in the game would just bring a lot of hype. I'd love to see Stonehenge. I'd love to see, yeah, I think Canyon Crusade would work well. Yeah.
The strangely our best retention was when we only had 7v7 maps so far. Do you think maybe that's because that was earlier in the playtest, and as time went on, people started to slip?
Wasn't that
Because like
last playtest when we only had 7v7Q? Like
oh,
last
we did
week?
only have 7v7. You're right. Yeah,
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 that
yeah.
was
I'm
last
thinking
week.
that was 12s. Interesting. That's very interesting. I thought 12v12 was successful. Like even me, like being a competitive player by nature, like I loved the chaos of 12v12. That it wasn't that competitive, but it was just fun. Yeah, that was late last playtest. You're right. Well, that's positive to hear that that was the most retention. Huh. 7v7 CTF, those maps. I'd be curious. Like, I think Dangerous Crossing plays very well into a 7v7. Like that. I played the 12v12 for the first time. That was chaos. That flag would not stay in the base. But yeah, maybe yeah, 7v7 queues being is actually a positive thing in my eyes. Just a matter of how does the gem play. But whatever. I don't want to speculate here. I got to chew on that one more on why. I'm sure you guys are too.
Do you
Um,
think we're gonna see any indoor environments coming soon? Will we see any indoor environments coming in the near future, Erez?
Good question.
And maybe arena as a game type, huh? Huh?
I don't know. You think Arena would be good for retention and new players?
I don't know. Good question. Versus
I'm a,
TDM, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what's better for new players.
yeah, as you think of that, like I wanted to go into the conversation of like game modes because we were kind of talking about that in Bomb Run and what the goal was for it, and you made that very clear earlier in this thread. But I think game modes will be a big part. Like you got maps, and they dictate the pace of the game, right? That's a fact. You got game modes that dictate if they're having fun or not based on the objective they're playing. And then you have like the physics, right? Whether it's the guns, it's the skiing. I think you guys are doing a great job, Erez, with listening to feedback and coming into yourself even chiming in on things, but more so the physics and the changes in what you've been trying to do with the air control with the different classes. We have a lot to say about each patch, but I think every single time you guys have been doing a really great job. But I think game modes is one of those things to really start thinking about more. Bomb Run, I want to see. I know you want to see how this weekend went, and with retention, new players, the feedback and such. But I think Hunters is actually a decent one to think about. This is just one voice speaking out of the thousands, so I'm sorry if I'm misrepresenting people, but I feel like Hunters or Team Hunters would be a really interesting game mode to play for a new user.
Yeah.
So Erez, just so if people are not seeing chat or what have you, step one is to see which game mode match size has the best retention. Then we focus on making that the best it can be to make sure we have the largest community we can. Custom matches will have all the other options. Okay, so the way Hunters works, you need to capture. Okay, everybody is worth a flag. So when you kill someone, they drop a flag. You pick up that flag. You now have 2 flags. You can take those flags and bring it to a nexus to capture the points. If you do that, you now have 2 points. But if someone kills you, you now drop 2 flags. Now that person picks up, they have 3 flags. That person dies, they have 3 flags that drop on the ground. And so you want to capture as many flags on the ground and then bring it to a nexus. Usually the nexus is static, but I was suggesting make the nexus move around the map every 60, 90 seconds or so. And then you could do it in a team deathmatch way where your team, it's like TDM, but there's more than just getting kills. It's capturing the flags themselves. That's the best way I could water it down. So I feel like that would be something that like when we were all hypothesizing before the patch, like what would be the casual mode that you guys are releasing? Everyone was like TDM, obviously, right? And frankly, I don't think that was a terrible thing to think about because there wasn't hard objectives to focus on, such as capturing the flag. It was, hey, just let people beat each other up and have teammates to beat them up with. But let's give it a little bit more of a layer of detail. And I think Hunters does exactly that. Sorry if people are watching and be like, why the fuck are you giving a bad idea for a game mode? But I that's one of my favorites, taking my head out of the competitive mindset.
Similar to 3v3v3 cash out from the finals. It's kind of a similar game mode in a lot of ways.
It is. Yeah.
I guess
I think that. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna pivot to another topic if you wanna.
No, go for it.
Okay. I guess another question for Erez. I think myself, APC, a lot of people in chat right now, Fire, JP, etc. We are all representing the highly competitive community where I think all of us played way more organized pickups than we played pubs. Obviously, for tribes to be successful, it has to be as successful for everyone. You cannot build tribes only for the competitive community. However, I'm curious how the feedback, like, are you looking at feedback from competitive matches, the pickups that we're doing and streaming? Are there people on your team that are looking at that? And do you weight that differently than the, I guess, public play? And I guess, like, right now, one of the major issues is in competitive play, stealth capping. Almost everyone unanimously feels like it's too strong, and it's not really fun to play or play against. I don't know if that's happening in public games as an example, but as competitive players, we're always going to be the ones that are pushing the meta to figure out what the most broken possible thing we can do to win as many games as possible. Do you see, I guess, value in seeing how the competitive players are playing and balancing against that? Or I guess, do you have an eye? Are you keeping an eye on what the competitive community is doing versus the public community? I mean, the last thing I think us competitive players want is another. I mean, I hate to say it, I love midair, but I think the last thing we want is another midair where it's hyper competitive and it's fantastic as a competitive game, but it just nobody's playing it. So like we can't go down that path. But I think there's also value to seeing how the most competitive players that are playing organized games, we're in voice chat, how we break the game. I think we're gonna break the game a lot faster than the rest of the community, I guess. Yeah.
Here's your answer.
There it is. I look at all the feedback and watch both pugs and casual, and as do others. We will make sure to fix everything broken for competitive play, since it usually does not change casual match. There you go.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah, and I think again, it's probably too early, and we're just like, I want to jump the gun so bad. Like, I want to bring influencers in here and have like a go-to-market plan, and have you guys like and help, bring the right people into the game. Like, we all know influencers will do a number for this game, but it needs to be at the right time. But all the way to having you as Prophecy get involved with what we do. Like, do you want to have a weekly dev podcast that we talk about things and talk about the patch notes and why the decisions were made and all? You guys probably have your own plans to do that yourself. But where can we help you? And like the same thing back to you, like, what questions do you have, or what would you like to see more out of us outside of running pugs and reporting bugs and feedback and all? Like, anywhere that we can help build this. I don't know. I feel like a broken record saying this, but I just truthfully mean it, is ways that we can help build this with you guys. I don't want to take the game backwards. And if you think we are, tell us where we are, Any other questions, guys? I don't want to sit here. I could probably ask a question every 5 minutes, but I also want to be mindful of everyone's time. Cool. Glad that's helpful for you guys. Any last thoughts? Anyone from chat? Again, that pot roast cooking downstairs is just getting stronger and stronger and making me think I should probably go eat soon. I don't know. My TLDR of basically where I was saying in the first place is like, I look forward to what the next 3 months are and where your head's at. I'm sure it's probably more week to week than it is we have an end goal to be released by a certain time. Well, maybe you do, but each week will be very, very impactful for you guys on where you go and what direction you go, because you want to see what's successful, what's not. Oh yeah. Let's go up to this list. Our top 5. All right. So from this playtest, good way. Damn, Erez is like the producer of the show. Yeah. Can we go and finish up with the top 5? Yeah, you're absolutely right. So the first thing was remove or significantly change the stealth/phase capping feature. We went over that with you. The medium in the phase pack is, I don't know, probably not even necessary. So maybe we just remove it altogether, or maybe there's ways to change it. I don't think we talked about anything other than remove it. But then, yeah, the light can't be, if you throw a Nitron, you should still not be able to grab a flag immediately after. You have to time it perfectly. People are even saying if you're going too fast, like if you remember, oh, he's just going to go through. He's not going to listen to me. He's just like, I'm just going to answer.
All right.
But if Tribes Ascend, like cloak capping, if you went a certain speed, you became visible again.
Ooh, baby. This is why you tune into these streams, people.
Yeah, this is why hard work pays off. You get answers early. All right, so reported and will be fixed. Flag and nugget physics need more gravity. Should be fixed. Okay, I'd be curious to see where you guys ended up there. Skybox ceiling needs to be raised. Okay, it's been removed. The chaser perk needs to be fixed. Okay, the others that we had, and disregard all these. These were from last week. Projectile speeds and hitboxes need adjustments. I think, Erez, the ball's on you guys to speed up projectiles as fast as you did 2 weeks ago. wow. But it also wasn't super negative either, which yeah, again, props to you guys. But we'd like to see it maybe tuned down a little bit, or the hitboxes and all. Um, flag hitbox and return is inconsistent. I don't know if you've seen this, Erez, but um, some people can return the flag so far from one another, or from one person to another. It's not consistent, and then when it does happen, the person's not even within reach distance to return it. So there's something funky going on with the flag hitbox. And then repairing base assets. This one was just like a small comment, but worth noting. It takes forever to repair your turret in the front. That it just becomes completely meaningless.
Can we add one more? Because we talked about this and it's not on the list. And I think we're both
Could be
aligned
number
that
five.
I could be number 5. I mean, now that we know that Skybox is taken out, can we just take that one that is fixed? Can we? No, I'm just kidding. But I think light armor still needs love. Like light armor, the only people playing light armor right now are doing these stealth caps. And if stealth capping is getting nerfed, I don't think light armor is really worth playing at the competitive level. I don't know exactly what light armor needs. I mean, even just 1200 HP or 1250 HP might make a really big difference. I don't know. That might make it too close to medium. I don't know. But at the moment, light armor just feels a little bit too weak. Or there's just not enough of a reason to pick light armor, in my opinion.
Yep. The thing that what we were saying earlier, Erez, on that note is, yeah, exactly what Fish was saying. But at its core, there's no reason to pick light over medium. There's just I can get as much enough speed as a light, and then have more utility. And then someone made, I think it was Swiss Milk, made a thing about how heavies need to be heavy again. They're so mobile, like they can move around almost as much as a medium, but make them feel a little more heavy. It doesn't mean you have to cripple them. It just means like let them not have as much air control and be a little heavy. Light hitbox is one half the size of a heavy now. Yeah, but with the fast projectile speeds, it's a lot easier just to hit people in midair. We don't have direct hits on the light bolt on the bolt launcher anymore. Thank you. But you get beat up more, and like you have a shield pack with a medium. I'd rather duel with a medium and have the same feeling as a light. You know what I mean? Like there's not enough difference between the medium and light for me to say I feel effective as a light dueling with someone as not even close to what I could do with a medium.
Oh man, now that I'm looking at this list, I also want to put maybe under other, can we experiment with 1.1x gravity? I feel like
Oh yeah, the gravity. That's a good one to
yeah.
call out. Yeah, we were saying, Erez, like it would be interesting to try the game that it feels still a little floaty. I don't mind it personally, but I'd still like to try it with 1.2, 1.1. Like some people were trying custom servers with those mutators up to 1.1, 1.2. So it's it would be interesting to try the game to be heavier. Gravity is already 1.5x. I guess it just needs
What
to be
it
a little
was
bit
from earlier
heavier.
playtests, or
Yeah, I guess. I mean,
yeah.
if the gravity has increased over time, I don't feel it. Like I feel floatier.
Yeah.
Why is that?
I mean, more jets online. I mean, I think a gravity, increasing the gravity even slightly is definitely an indirect buff to light and a nerf to like medium and heavy because of light's additional jetting, and I think could make skiing feel more responsive. I personally would really love to test out 1.1 or 1.2.
Relative to first playtest in TA. Yeah, wow, okay. If that's true, I would love to. Man, a lot has changed then. What you were saying about mediums, I mean, you're right. Like previous tribes, mediums were the more useless class compared to the others. I wouldn't say completely useless, but definitely more useless than the rest. But I do think mediums in a place where I'm not saying that medium's the only thing that people can use, but it's way more of a preference. So you're either saying make light useless or make medium useless. But there's a way that I would hope that we can make both of them useful in their own ways. But what medium has available to it as perks, packs, health, air movement, speed, all of that, then it's just you use medium for capping, you use medium for chasing, you use medium for distract. Like it plays every single role. And I think that's probably the main call out there.
I'm so sorry, Adam. I would also add like balance nitrons in some way on the list as another one, but our
It's
list is getting long now.
well, Erez, I guess this will probably be my last question. Thoughts about nitrons? It is such a thing in the tribes community, especially if you haven't played Tribes Ascend, that nitrons are annoying. And maybe something that shouldn't be in the game. And maybe for tournament play, we say nitrons are banned. I don't know. That maybe that's on us more. But and maybe I just answered my own question. But thoughts on nitrons? And Erez is saying we should play more with these values on our own time and let us know how we feel about it. Which I guess Fish, for what you were saying, is like, yeah, I wish we could, but we can't come to a general consensus. Because truth be told, Erez is like, we have 48 hours to play to play in play tests, and it's a new patch every single week. We get it. Like, let's keep iterating on the game as fast as you guys are. That's awesome. But we're also trying to take that time preciously to play the game that you're giving us versus trying to take time away that we have to play pugs by trying different trying different mutators. So yeah, we should and we plan to, but the limited time that we have doesn't give us as much time as we would like. 24/7 servers, please.
Nah. You know, when the playtest got extended, I was like, oh god, that's the last thing I need is to play 10 more hours of Tribes this weekend than I already played. I already played like 30 hours, dude. I don't need to play more. That's an exaggeration, but yeah.
Honor Fuser is doing a lot of damage. It's ridiculous. I was like 2 times at the end of the playtest. I was like, the heck was that? Why did I die so quickly? Oh, because Honor Fuser. So I think the Honor Fuser probably still needs to be toned down. Should it even exist? I don't know. I don't use it, but I've been getting destroyed by it, and it doesn't feel good, especially with projectiles being so fast.
Jagel in chat sure uses that Honor Fuser, man. He's killing it with that thing. Yeah, I mean, I think the Honor Fuser right now, with how easy it is to hit mid-airs compared to how it was previously, is just, it feels really, really impressive as well.
Well, cool. JP, I like how you said that. And maybe, it's on us, Fish, to kind of spread the good word. And Jim Christ, the emperor of tribes, the savior, the god, the one that we all bow down to, that we, after seeing your comments, Erez, we are far more willing to try values out. So if that's what you want to hear and what you want to see from us versus playing what you're giving us and we react based on that, all right, game on. Maybe we can, Jim, and maybe homework assignment for you when you get off your tribes vacation, that every Friday starting at 9:00 Pacific, Eastern, whatever, we can test out new values as a group.
Yeah, I mean, we should do it. We should do it.
Cool.
Hey, Erez, really cool for you to stop by, man.
Yep. Appreciate you. We try to do this after every playtest, whether it's, if you guys close it on Saturday, we usually do it on the Sunday morning. But since you closed it, thankfully, another day that gave me time to do some chores and then play, we did it Sunday night after the playtest. So thank you for the extra day. Thank you for being here.
Oh, Erez is asking us a question now. Ooh.
Good. Chain gun, I still feel like the chain gun, heavy could be abusive. It does a lot of damage and it's easy to track, especially how fast and big the projectiles feel. But I still feel like why not let the chain gun overheat or the spread get bigger over time? Except if, I feel like there's a chance that we can play with more advanced mechanics with the chain gun than it is. It's the same thing the entire time, and we just tweak damage values.
I mean, I feel pretty similarly about chain gun as I do about the disc launcher and almost all weapons in the game at the moment. It still just feels a bit too easy to hit shots in general. With discs, obviously the Honor Fuser super strong. Apparently the medium Honor Fuser can 2-shot heavies, and it's a bit too easy with how fast and how big the hitboxes are. Specifically with chain guns, I would really point to the chain gun in midair as a really, really cool example of some mechanics that can make the chain gun balanced in a lot of situations. Essentially, midair has two things that this game doesn't. One is it's not perfectly accurate. There's spread on your chain gun bullets. Number two is there's also an overheat mechanic. So the longer you're chain gunning, the more the overheat the more it overheats and the less the firing rate is. However, midair does have one really cool kind of unique aspect to overheat, which is the faster you're moving, the less the less overheat impacts your chain gunning. So what that basically means is chain gunning is still really viable to use when you're chasing, for instance. If you're chasing the enemy capper, or you disc jump after them, you're going really fast, you don't overheat as quickly as if you're just standing still, which means chain gun is still a really valuable and important tool for chasing down any flag carriers, but it's not super oppressive in 1v1 duels where you're just standing still because of that overheat mechanic. I think a lot of people really like the chain gun in midair because of these mechanics, and I would love to see that kind of applied as well, personally.
Yep.
But I didn't feel like chain gun was. I did not feel like chain gun was as oppressive as getting mid-aired with the honor fuser. I'll be honest.
It's not. It's not as bad, and the game is not flooded with only chain, which feels good. And it's because what I think basically Hot Rod said is you do more damage getting an MA, and it's not so hard to get an MA. In me as a chaser, like I like that my chain gun. Here's a fact. I've never ever been good with a chain gun. I was never a chain guy.
Thanks for the YouTube subscription,
I couldn't.
James Fett.
I couldn't be consistent with it. But this chain gun's so easy. It's yes, easy is relative, but compared to any other tribes, I could finally be an effective chainer in this game. So it feels good because as a chaser, I'm able to get those shots off. And I honestly think the light chain gun's in a pretty good spot. Sorry for people who feel differently. I think that one's fine. But when I use that heavy one, or when I go against a heavy with it, that thing is doing 50, 60 damage a second. Slower rate of fire, but it's so easy to hit that, I don't know. I feel like it's easy to chunk people down. I don't think it's in a terrible spot. I'll be very clear there. I don't think chain gun's in a spot that it's in our top 5 or even in a bonus or other section. But if we're talking chain gun and how we feel about it, I think adding a mechanic like that overheat mechanic, but not have it overheat if you're going fast, should strongly be considered.
I mean, even just making the bullets move more slowly for the chain gun alone would be a huge, I think, quality of life change. Because right now you can hit incoming cappers from across the entire map. You can play a midfield position and start chaining them essentially as they come out of spawn because of how accurate it is and how fast it is at long range. So, I mean, I think there's a lot of different ways that chain gun could be tuned. But for me, I think it's a universal thing about pretty much all weapons, in my opinion, are a little bit too easy to hit. So much so that, I did not get a lot of people just chaining me down in this most recent patch. I did get the mid-airing me, but I do think there are ways to make chain gun a little bit more fun to use and play against.
Jago, you say light chain is so bad and phase is better in every way. I'm glad that it's considered bad because I don't want to be chained down all the time. Like, don't let the chain gun be king. Like, it was so annoying in other tribes games that no one wants to be chained down. But the chain gun is good enough that if the person has 5 ticks left in them or what have you, you can chain. Like, that's when you use a chain. It's a finisher. It should not be a starter or a way to like rely on it. And what Hot Rod said is true. You're just better off using a spin fuser, which that I think
probably
that's
should
fine.
be.
I think that's where it's okay. I don't want the chain gun to be oppressive in the game. I would hate for that to be the case. And then someone like a DeSolo who's complaining about getting chained as soon as he spawns, it's like, yeah, imagine if it's worse. Cool. Any other questions, Erez? By the way, everybody that's listening, like, I have to be clear. I can only imagine people being like, well, APCs just spoke for the rest of the tribes community and all that. It's like, no, it's my stream. I'm talking to the guy that's asked me questions. You could ask questions, have comments too. So I have to say it 15 times because I always get it in my DMs or in chats. I'm not trying to speak for everyone. I'm just answering the questions I'm given.
Well, I am trying to speak for everyone, so
you can have that hat.
Yeah.
You and Jim Christ take it.
Bring back the grappler from Tribe's Vengeance. While we have you, Erez, I'm gonna just say that now. Bring back the grappler. We like grapplers in this chat.
That would be fun. Yeah,
I mean, Erez, I think pretty much everyone. that well, not, I shouldn't say everyone, but the majority of competitive players don't really have a conceptual issue with it being easier to hit players in this game than it has been in, let's just say, previous Tribes games. It's just a matter of tuning. I mean, it went from 0 to 100 in 2 patches ago, and then you brought it down to like 80 or 90. I think what, at least on a personal level, and I think, guys like Fire have said this many times, I don't want to see it go back to 0. But I think going from 0 to 100, I'd like to see it down to 70 or 65 or something like that. I'm just pulling these numbers out of my ass, but I think you get the point. I think it was too easy to hit, it was too difficult to hit mid-airs in the original iterations of this game, but I would still like to see it brought down from where it is today.
Still too hard for average Fortnite play. We've had a lot of people, like a lot of new players, jump into our pugs, and like they've never played Tribes before, they've never pugged before, and they want to put their big boy pants on and play. And it's impressive to see how good these people are. Like they have a long way to go, but they're skiing fine. Like the game is a lot more forgivable to ski. It's a lot easier to hit. Like you're suggesting, Erez, it's like in this Tribes, making it easier for the average player is a goal, and I think we're seeing that. I think what you're saying is we're still not seeing enough. And from our, I guess what we're saying from our less casual perspective is that it is enough. Yeah, they might be above gamer. You're right. Yeah, JP's right. Above average gamers joining us for pugs. You're right. But still, I've seen I've had 3 different friends play Tribes for the very first time in the earlier play tests, and this was before the projectile speeds, and they're skiing better than any other Tribes I've seen. When I had friends say, "Hey, can you play this game?" And they jump in the Tribes Ascent, and they just could not even ski. So I think the game overall is much more adaptable for new players. Well, yeah, I mean, Overwatch and Counter-Strike, you got your hit scans. Projectiles is a bitch, and added a Z access, right? Like watch people play Pharah as in Overwatch, right? It's not as easy. And people rely more on the splash damage.
Yeah, I think I just want to represent the competitive side a little bit here. It should be viable for new players to have fun, but I think one aspect I'd really, really encourage the design team and you, Erez, to consider about projectile speeds being faster is exactly what JP just said. That a projectile speed being faster and easier to hit is maybe satisfying for them, but that also means they're just going to die a lot more often too. So I don't think you can say objectively making it easier for everyone to hit shots objectively makes the game more fun, because it also means they're going to get dominated even harder by better players. I think I don't know. But anyway,
Yep.
We've said our piece on that.
Yeah, I feel like I get crucified if one at some point after this, and not speaking for the casual community 24/7. Trying to think holistically here. But I love that question, Foxes. I want to say it. Vehicles, are they coming? Those could be fun for the everyday player.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and don't bring back health regen. Like I see you mentioned TA and living forever. Please don't bring health regen back. Please don't. Please don't. Please don't.
Can someone please consider the cool sci-fi weapons? I love
the
I love the blaster from Tribes 2, man. It's just like, boom! It just makes this funny ass noise. It bounces all over the walls. I'm all about it.
No vehicles, damn. But almost expected, and
anytime soon. Anytime soon.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair. Did we see real quick? Did we see any flags go through the ground? This playtest was first playtest. No
Didn't
flags.
See it.
Too?
Nope. Not a single time. Yeah.
That's a big win. We're tournament ready, boys. No, that was good. Props to you guys for. Erez, I need to thank you guys for that hot fix on Friday.
Yeah.
I think I speak for everyone here. I was very tilted on Thursday. I saw a side of me I haven't seen in a while. I hate to admit that. But you guys came out the gates with here's a hot fix, and you fixed the core issues. So you fixing the flag from going through the ground, the nugs, the crashes, going through the flag or through the DX ground. So thank you, thank you, thank you for that. And hopefully this week, if we have a playtest on Thursday, maybe Wednesday for the first time, that we're able to give you a report of major bugs that could hurt the tournament and work with you guys to hopefully get a hot fix to not hurt the tournament. There's a lot of us that are worried that things might not work as they need to. Yes, we want spectator, but we need the game to run too. You know what I mean? So again, I appreciate that hotfix. That was freaking huge.
Yeah. Look, I mean, I think speak for everyone when we say we want this game to be accessible to new players and we want to see many more people playing Tribes in the future. I know that's your goal as well. I think we're fully aligned on that. I think just from the competitive side, I think all we ask is that, and it sounds like you are, obviously, I know I've seen you in the streams. All we ask is that you also look at the competitive side of things. And because I think any good competitive shooter, whether it's Fortnite or Apex, these games all have an incredibly high skill ceiling. I don't think they're both accessible to new players and still retain a ridiculous skill ceiling, and so does this game. But I think all we want is to make sure that we retain that super high skill ceiling that makes Tribes so special.
Oh yeah, this did happen. I remember. Hopefully, Swiss, you sent me this with the flag, but hopefully this was in the bug channel. Like that's, I imagine QA looks at that every single day. Like you're helping them with their jobs, which then helps Tribes. But the flag got stuck in the air. Look at that. And like, I think it was a case where we couldn't return it, but the enemy could grab it. Remember? Yeah. So he couldn't return it, but someone ended up grabbing it or returning. I don't know. There was something really weird with the flag there. So hopefully that bug was reported. That was the only flag issue I think I saw.
Also, we haven't mentioned the honor fuser angel wings.
Oh yeah, that was in there.
I'm sure the team knows. I'm sure the team knows, but yeah.
Oh, it's stuck on the nugget. Is that what it is? A nugget and a flag combined, and it got stuck in the air, and they're not sure what to do. That's interesting. Cool. This was a lot of fun and a lot longer than we planned it to be, but it was so worth it. Is that it, guys?
I think that's it. I think that's it.
Man, I always feel like we blow our chances to ask really awesome questions. Half the time when we do this, it's like, do we get faster lights? You know, like, but I think we got some good ones out there. Got some good answers. Thank you, Erez. Hopefully, folks got what you wanted out of this, and don't hate me after this either for having an opinion.
You can hate me. It's fine.
Oh, dude, 5 filling. Dude, the dentist is the worst. Good luck. Have fun with that, man. Ugh, that sucks. Stop eating so much candy.
Yeah, thanks for stopping by, Erez. We really appreciate the chance to talk to you and have that community interaction. It's very nice.
Cool. And then I'm going to eat some pot roast. Jim, I'll try to remember to put it in the Crunching and Munching channel for the Fish Club. But y'all, get your teeth checked, get a cleaning, get your fillings if you have it. Take care of your teeth, just like Erez. We'll see you later this week in the draft tournament, the draft phase, the play test, hopefully. I definitely hope we have a play test. If we don't, we don't have a tournament. Much more to come. And next time, let's get more prepped on the questions that if Erez shows up again, that will be ready. So that'll be a new agenda item for us for the future.
There you go. 100%.
Oh yeah. And props to Scott for interacting with the community. It's good to see Scott. He's a super smart guy for this. So, all right, guys. Fish, you have anything before we go? I should give you
No. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure to sign up for the draft tournament at rivalsrumble.com. You can sign up for both EU and NA. If you only signed up for one and you would like to play in the other, make sure to do that. Europe is going to be on Saturday, and that'll be 7v7. So if you'd rather play 7v7, that's your chance to do it. But NA will be on Sunday. We have a ton of players signed up for NA. We could use some more players for EU. So if you're listening to this and you haven't signed up yet, you can totally do that. I know I'll be hanging out and casting with APC for the Europe one. I will be streaming my POV for the NA one. You can follow me at twitch.tv/fishsticks. I also want to give a quick plug for people that are newer to competitive tribes. Put some time into this spreadsheet, which breaks down the basic roles for how to play competitive tribes. I just dropped it in APC's chat. I'll drop it in my chat as well. I'm working on a video. I hopefully will be able to get that done like maybe tonight or something. But I think the spreadsheet is actually just as good as the video, to be honest, or a little bit easier to share with people. So feel free to check that out. I'd love to hear any feedback people have on it. And
Hell yeah.
Yeah, we'll see you at the draft.
Yeah, thank you for your content, Fish. You're going the distance to help, so appreciate it.
Doing my best.
All right, y'all.
Yeah.
We'll see you in chat and in the pugs next week or next stream that we do. Enjoy your night and the week ahead.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Okay. I'm out.
Yeah. Cool that we got Erez in there.
Yeah, you stopped streaming too?
I'm going to turn it off right now.